back.
We're back. We have some exciting stuff actually to talk about. So
We got a whole ton of new stuff.
welcome. What are we doing today?
What is it? Today's Thursday. We have a few more days left in the garage sale. We're kind of like halfway through the garage sale, sort of. Runs right until Sunday. It started Monday morning. I think we're up to date on orders. Like everything's been shipped out that's been ordered already. So we're ready to go again. So we're gonna pump up the garage sale again. We've got a whole bunch of new stuff that's been delivered. That unfortunately, it didn't get here before, but we've got new stuff added, and we can go over any questions you might have of anything that you bought or are thinking about buying. Oh wow! Whoa! Wait, I know what that is.
Welcome. We are
Holy
doing
Jesus.
this Knifewear garage sale. Twice a year event. Knifewear garage sale is all about knives that we don't usually carry. The knives we just came back from Japan about 4 weeks ago and met a lot of different blacksmiths. I think that they can hear me, right? Like I have to talk to this microphone.
No, wait.
No, both are gone.
Okay, so we just came back from Japan 4 weeks ago. Met a lot of different blacksmith knife makers, and we have made something like, went to Sanjo and get some knives from those people and stuff like that. So this is all about knives that we don't usually carry. Some are super great deals. The one that I was just showing you, it's got a $50 off markings on it, as well as a lot of really cool, one-of-a-kind type of stuff, right? So we just started. Well, we started on Monday, and it's been 4 days now. This is the fourth day. We actually got shipment yesterday.
Yeah.
I was scrambling to get everything out and make sure they're up on the website and everything. So
We definitely have some really good stuff left.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not all gone for sure.
But some exciting stuff that we just came in, and I'm sure it's going to be on the website right away, I think.
Yeah, I'll just put you up.
Awesome. So here, this is something that you don't get to see every day. We don't get to see every day. We didn't see it for about 2 years. I was fortunate enough, right before the pandemic, I was fortunate enough to see this knife maker and blacksmith in Japan, right? We didn't get to visit.
This is you should put your mic on the floor.
Yeah.
This is actually a legendary blacksmith.
Yeah.
Legendary.
Well, some of you may be able to recognize by just looking at the box.
Oh, you actually do is in person.
Sorry, I cut myself today. It's right hand. I was just washing it, and I just sliced not this one, but I was here.
Ooh.
Wow.
Holy Sugifusa. Okay, tell us more about these. These are Sugifusa.
Yes, this is Sugifusa. Kasumi 210 millimeters here.
Focus. There we go.
Oh, look.
Oh wow. Okay, this is a big deal. They don't look like a big deal.
No.
But tell us why they're a big deal.
Well, the Sugifusa is this kitchen knife maker in Sanjo. They have been making the Izuka-san, the Tokifusa Izuka-san is the guy who learned a lot of skills and techniques from the with Iwasaki-san, the father of the Shigeru Iwasaki-san, Kosuke Iwasaki-san. And also, he went to actually learn the little forging skills from some few sword makers. By far, when we talk about this knife maker, the Masashi Yamamoto-san, quite a bit, and we often ask, who is his favorite food? The favorite knife maker is, and Izuka-san, here. This is one of the Masashi-san's favorite blacksmith. It's just really detail oriented. It looks really, ordinary knife, right? But the way it's sharpened, that way it's the forged. I was fortunate enough to actually see them forge built knives in the workshop. It's so clean there's no such like low spots or anything, even, and like slight. So this is really, really, really well made. Knife
These
that you
knives
don't-
are incredible. They're super sought after.
and you don't get to see them like every day.
And that's a 200 mil Guto.
210 millimeter.
210 millimeter Guto.
Comes
What
with
type
a
of steel?
fire.
White carbon?
This one here is Soko Swedish carbon steel.
Swedish carbon steel.
They really like to work with.
Can you see the metal flow? Is that the word?
Not this one. This one here is really nicely polished with Kasumi finish.
So these are hand forged Swedish carbon steel.
Yeah.
Sanmai, right?
Sanmai,
3
yeah.
layers of steel.
You can see a little bit line right
A little
here.
bit of a line. And the thing is, it's just the way it's done, the detail.
Yeah, detail,
the
sharpening,
methods.
job methods.
Yeah.
And they can probably only produce a 1 or 2 a day max
Wow.
with 3 people.
With 3 people. So when we're seeing other people that were doing, 60 knives a day.
Yeah, that's like
Wow.
They take
So an incredible amount of work would go into it.
another Sugifusa.
I know. I snuck a peek at this one.
So super quick, you guys. We're gonna kind of go through what's new, what's funky, and what's fresh. I've seen a lot of questions here in the comments, which is awesome, and we will get to those here in a little bit, and just after we look at some new knives that we brought in, and then we can kind of get to a speed round question thing. Thanks for tuning in.
Sugifusa Kitaechi 300 mil Yanagiba.
Eesh. That's amazing. I
That
want that
thing.
knife. Okay, I have to ask.
It's great.
So we don't have a price on this 210. How much is this 210?
You asking Nacho or me?
How about you?
I can make that happen. Let's see.
Thank you. Let us know the price of these Sugifusa.
This Kitaechi is actually done by hand too. Kitaechi basically means this Damascus finish.
Yeah.
So he folds the 2 different type of hardness of steel, folds and stack them, folds a few times to make this this pattern. I even asked the guy who was forging it. It was his younger son. This Yanagiba is
1650.
So the Yanagiba is $1,650, which is an incredibly good price.
Is the 210 the Kasumi?
Kasumi. Yeah.
That comes with the Saya there?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. That guy looks like it's 920.
$920
For
for the Gyuto, if
But-
it's still available.
Yeah, if it's still available.
They
Um,
only went up moments ago.
This
It says out of stock, so it might be
okay,
gone.
that's good. So the
Minutes.
I asked the guy Masayuki-san, the younger son, was forging the Damascus steel at the
Mhm.
time, and I specifically asked, how many times would you fold? How many times would you actually fold the steel? He's like, until it's good.
Oh,
Until it's good.
I like that answer.
that's
I
it.
really used to hate that answer because I remember being in cooking school and you'd say, how do I know when it's done? And they'd say, when it's cooked.
Yeah.
And you'd say, well, how do I know when it's cooked then? They're like, when it's done.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to kick you, right?
Yeah.
But once you get to understand, there isn't always that quantifiable number of like 27 is the exact number. I mean,
Yeah.
42 is the exact number, but.
Exactly.
Okay, what else do we've got? We've got a couple things we've got a polished tsuchime. This is a stainless steel clad Aogami Super Core, which is such an awesome combination of steel for a kitchen knife. Aogami Super is a carbon steel that has a bit of chrome, so it's not as pesky when it comes to the oxidizing, but it's also incredibly good at holding an edge. I love the deep texture on this blade. The knife will just drift through whatever it is you're cutting. And a great price. That is $245 for an Aogami Super stainless clad Nakiri. That is a great price. So we have got, in this series, we've got Nakiri. We've got what looks like a 210 millimeter Kiritsuke tip Gyuto, a Bunka, a Petty, and a Sugihiki. I really like this Sugihiki, actually. Look at it. It's a 240 mil blade, which for carving, that's a perfect length. For cutting steaks like tenderloins and strip loins, you're going to be able to do that. You'd be able to skin salmon with this as well. Gets a little short if you're getting into a lot of the professional kind of sizes stuff, but nonetheless, this is a beautiful knife. They've got a really nice cherry handle with the red Paca wood collar. Now, something I'm really excited about that's shown up is these. Maybe I've said this a dozen times this week, but I really like knives that look just like, I like sleepers. I like that thing that looks like a simple normal thing, but under the hood, there's a whole lot more going on. And that's exactly what these are. These are made by a company called Gihei, and they are forging ZDP 189. They also forge HAP 40. Did we get HAP 40 or just the ZDP?
So just ZDP for this one?
Just ZDP. They're really beautiful knives, and we've sold them on and off for a long time. And I do know a number of customers who I would consider collectors, who have Hinoras and Sugifusa, and they have Denkas. They've got all these things, and they've often said to me the knife they use all of the time is a Gihei. Two cool shapes. This is like a 150.
He calls it petty.
I would say that's a 150 Gyuto if you smush a Gyuto and a petty together. This is a great knife. Look at, you got the clearance, right? You can use it like a chef's knife, but it's just smaller. That's such a convenient size knife. Everyone I know who's got a collection of knives has one of these, and they use it a lot. Now, if you're doing a lot of work, you're going to get a bigger knife. This is the 210 mil Gyuto. Nice curve here for your finger, pretty evenly beveled, right? There's nothing crazy fancy about these knives. What's really cool is the steel, and I think that the referral, the reviews from the end users of people who have spent tens of thousands of dollars on knives, and if they're using Gihei all the time, I think that says something too. So, what else we got? We got some cool stuff. Where's this from?
We're at the. Remember we were at the Hado
Tarafusa. Right.
They were having a little bit of a little sale type of
Right.
thing.
Yeah. Well, Golden Week has just passed, which is a big Japanese sort of event.
Yeah, it's the it's kind of like outlet type of. That's why the price is fantastic. The regular is $195 for each one, and it's like $145, $50.
That's $145.
Origami
That's
number
crazy.
2 with the stainless clad, something like this, or the SLD. It's really clean looking blade like this one. It's like really nice distal taper on all of these. Really well made. There's no plastic collar for a lot of inexpensive knives.
Is that walnut or chestnut?
It's a walnut.
Walnut.
And
Nice
it's got a
handle.
really
Yeah.
Beautiful handle here. This one has the really clear so-called shinogi line. Really tall bevel, or the something like. I like this finish. Like it's got a really nice grind here.
It's a really clean and simple look.
Yeah. So 145 each. It's really goodbye, I think, for any of these.
Goodbye,
guys here.
Mr. Bond.
Are we on them still?
Yeah, we're on.
Okay, sure.
All right.
Alrighty.
Nathan's just checking his email here.
Yeah, right.
What else did I see that looked good? These guys looked really good. I like this handle. It's like a little bit of a bronzy color on the ferrule there. Now this looks like a knife you could run with on a daily basis, like as a chef or something. It's a cool Kiritsuki shape with that awesome tip. The Kurochi finish, that black finish, I think is always kind of sexy looking. But a nice grind, a little bit taller at the tip than the heel, so it's a little thinner up front than it is at the back. Solid handle. The difference between a Western handle and a Japanese handle like this style here, to me, is preference. And it's what you like to hold, right? Oh, let me go backwards. Ooh. This always delivers you a lighter feeling in knife. It doesn't necessarily, but can change the balance point. This knife with a bunch more steel running through the blade, or through the handle, I should say, that just gives you a bit more weight in the hand and makes the knife a little heavier overall. So just really, it's all about preference there. They're just as strong as the other, essentially. But beautiful knives. This one is, again, this is Aogami Super with stainless cladding. Aogami Super makes a really fantastic kitchen knife, putting stainless steel on the outside allows your knife to stay looking the same for a longer time. A little bit easier in terms of the user end maintenance of it with just cleaning it. Less rust, right? But those are really great. So this 240 Gyuto, the Kiritsuki tip, $355. The 210 is $306. I mean, for stainless clad Ogami Super, that's a pretty good price. Yeah, they feel good. If you ever want to know of any of the knives that we've got here, if you're wondering the weights, the lengths, the thickness of it, we've got all the tools. We can measure that kind of stuff for you. Any questions? Let us know. I'm sure you have. They just haven't given them to us yet, too.
Another one like this one here, Aogami. This one here is brand called the Zakuri. Oh, there's the little question. That Zakuri is made by a group of the blacksmith in the Tosa region. Very typical Tosa looking, curls.
Yeah.
Very well made knife. 240 millimeters, blue carbon #1 on the board.
Really?
No stainless, so it's like, you have to keep it dry and stuff, but it's got a really nice, good bevel. That means it's not too thin, not too thick. It's really well balanced. I don't see this being like really fragile blade or anything. It's beautiful finish, right? Got the, and this is
Can I hold it?
$201. I don't know where the dollar comes from, but 201.
Oh yeah, this is beefy, hey?
Yeah.
It's got a nice kind of weight.
And this one here is made by this
Where's them calipers?
Totsuka.
Calipers.
They're underneath your coffee.
Let's go Totsuka-san. Here, this is the blacksmith who makes it.
I'll go find them for you.
Sail away.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, that's cool.
It's really good price for 240.
Yeah, it's a bit thicker at the spine, hey? Like it's a kind of a heavier knife from what we've
I think
before.
it's very like Tosa style.
Yeah, Tosa style is cool.
Really nice,
I like that Tosa style. It's always that sort of black finish, polished, like sort of foggy side on the bevel. Simple. They're not like trying to fluff anything up and win any sort of fashion contest.
No,
They're trying to make good knives.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that about them. Okay, what else? We got another series here. That's
pricing thing one. These
Yeah.
two are the same.
185. Yeah, we still have to get the rest of the prices here, but 210 Kiritsuke. I would say that's a Gyuto because it's there's this thing, right? So Gyuto is going to have this curve to the edge, right? Our true Kiritsuke is a straight pin straight edge. But we've got this really awesome tip here, that Kiritsuke style tip. That just gives the knife so much more attitude. It looks great. You've got a finer tip at the end, but arguably they function very much the same as a Gyuto. This is nice. This is powdered stainless, right? This is SRS 13, I believe.
AS stainless.
Oh, it's AS and stainless again. Oh wow, that's very cool. $200. Holy smokes. Okay, and that looks like that is a Brazilian rosewood handle with the red cherry kind of paca wood
They
handle.
call it the Morado. But
Morado?
It's very similar to yours.
All right, yeah, great. That's a really durable wood. These are handsome knives. I think they're beautiful. So again, these are a couple of late arrivals from our suppliers that we had ordered for garage sale, and they didn't come until yesterday. So that means they're now up online. If you wanted to browse and see anything else, we've got a few additional things. I think that covers all of the stuff that has been late arrivals, hey?
Yeah.
The exciting one is the Sugifusas.
Something like-
I'm sure they've sold already. They don't last very long.
If someone's looking for a really great deal for home use or a good santoku, that one's good. It just came in.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
It's $123 VG1. That's a hard steal.
Don Penny has requested that you stop showing him things that he would like to consider buying, please.
Absolutely, Don Penny. I will stop immediately. Why don't we just bring out all of those barbecue tools and the barbecue knives and the barbecue things? I know Don's probably not interested in any of those.
We did have a few questions. We are going to have Chris call in from Ottawa soon. But in the meantime, Nato, you might be able to answer this. Michael Frawley in New Zealand was asking what you could tell him about that mirror polished Masashi Maguro bocho that we have.
We have them at the which store?
I think that one's in maybe Vancouver.
Yeah, maybe in Vancouver.
But well, I mean, it's made by Masashi-san. Good
Yeah.
start.
It's great. This is not the same. It's the 400 mil is going to be so much smaller than this guy here. It's really good mirror polish piece of the. It is a little bit smaller, so it's not really designed to do a lots of filleting. His Masashi-san's 400 mil Maguro is for sakudori. To get that from the block, you use that to get each blocks before using the sashimi.
So that's not for filleting a whole tuna.
No,
it's
no.
for separating chunks from the previously filleted large fillets, right? Is that what I understand?
Yes, large
Okay.
fillets like you have the so bacon. So you have the tuna,
I'm a tuna,
and you fillet them,
and you cut me in half, right?
and usually take them like belly side and back side.
So there's
four
quarters.
quarters. Yeah.
Yep.
This here, 650 millimeter length Maguro is to use it on those quarter pieces into blocks. Right? Make sense?
Yep.
So you make the blocks of these like belly part.
And that's what someone would typically buy, is a big hunk like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the 400 mil piece is the people who those people who buys that the chunk and take that into the smaller piece.
So that's like what the chef at a restaurant would use to break down that sort of primal cut, right? Well, this is a Maguro bocho. He said 650, but it's 540. So whatever.
Oh, sorry.
Big. This is a big knife. So this is Maguro bocho. This is a tuna slicing knife. That's kind of like the one that Mr. Frawley's asking about. Masashi has a particular talent at making beautiful knives that I love your username. That would be at the Vancouver store. Vancouver definitely sees more people looking to buy things like Maguro bocho. There's a lot more Japanese people that actually live in Vancouver who know what they're doing with the knife. Now, if you're around a place that you got a lot of big fish, having a big Maguro bocho would be very handy. It would be a bit to learn how to use it. I'd suggest finding someone who knows how to do it, who'd give you good. Like if I had a Maguro bocho and I was a Japanese chef and I knew how to use it and someone showed up with one, it was like, please, sensei, teach me. I will buy this large fish. You can show it to me how to use it. I'd be into it. I would totally want to show you. So I'd get it and just have fun. It'd be amazing. If
Sweet.
you have the ability to catch really large fish, like go for it, man. That's awesome.
Cool. Matt O'Keefe is asking, anything cool for left-handed knife users? I don't know that we have any left-handed single bevels, but the majority of our knives are ambidextrous. You guys got anything particular cool that you're a fan of?
Particularly left-handed knife.
Not this Maguro bocho.
Yeah, but anything cool in general, it's ambidextrous that you guys like.
Unless it's a single bevel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you want to see something cool for someone who is a left-hander who's been dealing with mistreatment their whole life? This is a mirror polished honyaki. This is a single piece of steel. The level of skill that is required to produce this is up at the top for blacksmith skill, let alone mirror polishing it. This is what we would refer to as an ambidextrous knife, and that's because it's been beveled evenly on both sides. So I'll see if I can line this up for the choil shot. You see that? The angle on the left and the right side is the same. So this knife will travel through food evenly. By that I mean, think like a wing, right? If you've got a wing on an airplane, one side the air moves slower around it, creating the lift. Same thing with this sort of a knife, with that bevel and the more blade, it'll actually cause the knife to drift somewhat. So that's why it's not going to work well to use a single beveled knife. I'll show you one here. What's a good example? This fella's kind of fun with this bright green apple handle. If you want to flip to the other camera here, you see this guy? It's beveled on one side. So when they shape the blade, they actually build the blade with only two pieces of steel, and there's hard piece of steel on one side, soft on the other. And so they're actually creating a blade that's almost curved because it's concave on the inside, beveled on the outside. Now this is a right-handed knife with the bevel on the outside like this.
Right on.
Okay.
Now to Spoon Monkey. Wasn't able to get anything this time around for the garage sale, but is excited for the November garage sale because we have 2 a year, one in May, one in November. Have you started planning yet?
The goal is the November one slightly we get to see some of the Moritakas. The Moritakas, because of the production capacity, they can only accommodate us for the November once a year type of situation. So that's good. Mike and I just came back from Japan. We may be planning another trip. As you may know, Kevin hasn't,
He hasn't been in a couple of years yet.
For a couple of years, so it's maybe his time to.
Lots of
say
great
hi.
gift knives show up around that time because, of course, we kind of think of the garage sale in November as a kind of like the kickoff to Christmas. We're not into doing traditional things like Black Friday and stuff.
Yeah.
Just doesn't fit. But what we like to do is go and get a whole bunch of really cool stuff. And maybe they're not things, again, that we're going to carry full time, which is a lot of what the garage sale products are. They're not our full-time lines that are part of our collection. They're short time, good time, here for a good time, not a long time.
Well said,
prices,
Mike.
Right?
That pretty much sums it up.
Yeah.
There are a few say knives like the Miyazaki-san that we were the few shapes that we're working on. Like I really like his so-called the Hakata shapes. That it's a little bit taller bunka shapes, and we're basically been working to get 3 shapes. Small Hakata, big Hakata.
Those Hakata look
Exactly.
so cool.
Yeah, got 3 shapes.
Of course, Spoon Monkey. Of course, we're going to have cool stuff. Of course.
And the planning has started. Okay, we're about to be joined by Chris Lord from Ottawa in a few minutes here. He's going to tell us about how garage sales going in Ottawa since things are back to the stores now.
Right, 'cause
But
they were closed last year.
yeah,
They were closed. Yeah, they were shut down by the shutters of shutting down.
and even then, the garage sale in the store has been a little more low key lately. You tend to have to wait outside longer, due to capacity and stuff. So this has been a big one. It's been a big deal for all the stores in there. We got a few people tuning in later
Do
today.
you want to
tell
do a
us how it's
speed
going.
round of questions before we hit?
Yeah, I got a
Mr.
couple more.
Lord?
If we don't get to your question right away, folks, we will get to it later on. Spoon Monkey was also just asking, with Kurosaki changing his designs, will we start getting old style Senko for garage sale as a rare, hard to find knife?
It will be. If you like that, because we are actually getting the new Senko batch soon as well with regular handle.
Oh yeah.
And I've been informed that the shape's been changed.
Cool, exciting.
Really?
Yeah. So
Wow. Big, tall, small, skinny, fat.
like his drop,
Yeah.
little bit of drop spine and
Yeah.
his back. Yeah.
That's coming.
All of his Senko will look like that.
I think that's a smart way to build a knife because it just gives you more blade clearance.
Totally. Another thing I just want to mention. So for those of you, if you haven't had a chance to find a knife in the garage sale yet, it does run until Monday. It runs all week. There's a ton of cool stuff. In fact, I'm a little shocked by how much cool stuff there is still.
We just added a few scratch and dent as well. So if you're looking for
We did.
crazy deals, scratch and dent section is there as well.
Well, somebody was asking if there'd be more bicycle-related scratch and dent, but this is the regular kind of thing.
Not the bicycle related.
Yeah, this is just normal kosher scratch and dent.
We made sure to keep the bicycle sturdy this year.
It's about 3 stories up, strapped to a pallet.
Yeah, it's about 15 feet in the air now.
If you're in Toronto or you know someone in Toronto, we are going to be there at the Stacked Market June 13th to 19th. So
What is
stay
it,
tuned
28
for that.
Bathurst?
28 Bathurst Street.
28 Bathurst Street.
Yep. We're going to be there for a whole week with a pop-up, sharpening knives, selling knives, all that sort of good business.
Yeah, we're bringing a sharpening wheel. Wheel will sharpen yourself. If you're in Toronto, you've bought knives at Knifewear, you know that your first sharpening is free. You can always come and cash in then.
Yeah, exactly. As well as we got our new knives from Masashi-san launching very soon. We'll have a release date for those very soon.
And Masai-san's coming.
And he is coming to visit us in end of July, early August. He'll be heading up likely Knifewear, Ottawa, Calgary, Edmonton, and
We
Vancouver.
might have
So
to take him golfing. Isn't he? He was like almost a pro golfer
He was.
when he was young. Yeah. He's
Cool.
an amazing dude.
Okay, well, Charles Stewart is looking at a couple garage sale bunkas, both from Saji, one rainbow Damascus and one Shinchu, brass only, question mark, but darker Damascus. Will a Shinchu stick more to food? So maybe you can compare these two for us, Naoto.
It's really maybe that's little. You know what though, I think one that will stick will have a little bit more not sticky.
Food release?
Food release. This black Damascus will have a little bit more better food release because it's a little bit more rougher, right? Because it's been etched, so it's not as smooth.
Well, this one still has some texture to it as well.
So both very similar. Like if you have to compare these two, one's a little bit more, polish here. It's got a little bit higher polish. The shape is exactly the same.
I think maybe the real question is Naoto is they're so close. Do you think there would be a noticeable difference in terms of
how it cuts? No.
how the food would stick to it?
No, really.
I mean, when we talk about the food sticking, anytime you slice something really thin and wet, like cucumber or ginger, that thin slice, it's always going to stay on the side.
Yeah.
You just flick it off. But in terms of it, we're talking about when it makes it feel like the food is putting the brakes on the knife and your knife is binding on the inside. I think there's a fine texture on that this rainbow one that's the slightly more polished. Like I feel like that texture would really help. But again, I mean, there's a tiny bit there. But
And there's a little bit of bevel here.
there's a bit of a more pronounced bevel.
Pronounced bevel. Like you don't see them, but there is actually pronounced bevel here. That will help a little bit of food release as well. So
Yeah.
there isn't a obvious difference.
There's
not going to be.
and unfortunately, there's hardly enough of a price difference to fight over it. So,
Yeah.
you're
Get the one that
Mr.
you like
Stewart?
better.
which one do you think looks better?
This
Do you like shiny?
with the 3 different colors, or
You know what? The Shinshu is definitely more unique. I've seen more of that style with the rainbow, the copper, and the brass, that mokume. But this Shinshu is really unique. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
yeah, this is beautiful. Yeah, so hopefully that answered the question.
More questions.
Yeah, no sign of Lord yet. So we'll just carry on with the questions here. Spoon Monkey was asking if we picked anything up on Monday. I had my eye on a custom handle Raijin Bunka, and luckily it sold. So I've held off so far.
Like slow things. You know what I'm waiting for?
Mm.
I just got a notification. It's just regular knife, but I just got a notification from Hado.
Oh, the Hado that you like.
Suni. Yeah.
Naoto secretly put a little check mark on a box in Japan. Sometimes if you're at our store, you'll see on the bottom of a box, there'll be like a tiny little dot. And that's like how one of us have picked out a knife, and we're just sort of like waiting.
Yeah.
And we pick it out, and then amongst them, it's not. Sometimes the handmade stuff is different enough that you pick one out, and it's like Harry Potter picking his wand. It just finds you.
Yeah. I bought this one for myself. It just comes super handy.
I made it.
Got something in common with Daddy Knows Best, who picked those up.
Do you
as
know
well.
what though? These Sakai Kikumori have been calling me for quite some time. I do have 30-something plus Japanese kitchen knives. I have a very difficult time justifying buying another one. But any one of these 3 would make me happy. And in fact, our coworker Sky has one of them, the 210 mil Gyuto. She lent it to me for a while, and that didn't dampen my spirits on these knives. They are great. They cut so smoothly. They're pretty tough. They're stainless clad. They're carbon steel core, but they're just extra tall. It's sort of got that Takeda kind of feel to it without being that crazy short Takeda grind. And to me, I really like this aesthetic. Just looks like a knife. But this is fantastic. I have to put it down.
I made it, everybody.
Well, I'll distract you with some more questions, Mike. Oh, you know what? We got Mr. Chris Lord on. So
I made it. I made it.
He made
Hi,
it.
Chris Lord.
Hello, Michael.
you.
Hello, Naoto.
Can we
Look,
hear you?
guys. I don't
No,
know.
we
Can
can't
you?
hear you.
Can
Yeah,
anyone hear?
we sure can.
Oh, there you are.
All right, there we go.
There you
Look, guys, I've made a new office.
You're fuzzy. Have I been drinking?
Maybe.
Oh,
Thank you.
you do
I
have a
don't
new
know.
office.
Look, I even hung stuff on the walls.
No. Where's the hole?
Are you
That's
facing
a-
the other direction now?
That's a different room. No, I'm not. What have you done, Nathan? What is this about? Now Mike looks like he's all.
That's kind of like a weird continuation of my elbow.
Yeah. Wow, look how long Mike's arm is.
I think I broke something, guys. How's the sale been for you, Lordy? What's going on? What's been popular? What's your favorite thing in the sale?
You know what? We sold out of my favorite thing in the sale really fast. And it was those it wasn't a super flashy knife. Well, I don't like being so big. Make me smaller than that. That looks stupid. Get me out of there. Fix it. There you go, Nathan. Do something. There, now there's no mic or now. Who knows what's going on? But I was really into those Hatsu Kokoro, the Hayabusa, those Hap 40 knives.
Mhm.
That was the one that like I kind of shot myself in the foot and talked about a lot. And then I didn't get one. So has Naoto got one there? Yeah, is that the
We can send
210?
them to you, buddy. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Don't you worry.
But I got a couple of other favorites. We were
Like what?
pretty, it was, well, I'll go back to like what it was like in the store because it was, it's been a little while. Like we had, I think we had a lineup of nearly 20 people when we first opened.
That's
There
awesome.
was, it was like, I don't know, 17, 18 or so. And I opened the door and we could only let 10 people at a time in. Like there's not a lot of room. So we went to like, I was kind of working the front door and I let the first 10 in. And then I just like worked the door for an hour and a half. Luckily, Monday morning was the only nice weather we got all week. So that made it a little bit easier. But it's been fun. Like there's been a lot of like those Sugifusa knives with the Western handles have been really popular. We ran out of petties on Monday. Then yeah, those Hatsu Kokoro, the Hap 40s, personally a really big fan of those. The first knife to get sold that day was a Takeda. Was that we had the one with the gray handle.
Yeah.
So like someone like I think there was a fist fight over who got that knife.
Did you hear about what happened in Calgary?
No.
Some guy drove from
yeah.
another province to come and get a knife.
Yeah,
I mean,
you told me
A
about
knife
that.
that, if you really wanted, it would be worth driving a few hundred kilometers to get to it.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah,
that
no,
we
it was
didn't see
nuts.
for a very long time. Right?
Oh yeah, those are hard to come by.
Yeah, that was a river jump, right? That was the one you were showing off?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, that was a 210 Gyuto as
That
well.
was 210 Gyuto.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna
Yeah.
get a knife, get a Gyuto.
Yeah, and then the retired testers, those are always crazy. They didn't make it through they didn't make it. Oh, BC guys watching. CG Martin. Well, don't put your address up. Someone will break in, take your knife.
Yeah, don't dox yourself, man. That's
yeah,
a super
don't do
nice
it.
knife. I'm really happy that you ended up getting
Yeah.
it.
I grabbed a couple of my favorites that are left over.
Oh
to
yeah,
show
let's take a look.
off. Yeah, so it's one that we've had in the shop for a little while. Not necessarily a straight up garage sale knife, but these Hado Sakai. Oh, there we go.
Oh, the
Sorry,
Ginsan.
it's kind of shiny. The Ginsan, yeah. This knife is very much my style of knife. Like, it's got it's got a little bit of weight to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it feels like a truck. Like
Feels like truck.
you pick it up and it feels like it should go to work. Like it feels like a working knife. That's what I like about like my Kuroshu, my 240 Kuroshu. You pick it up and it's got a bit of weight to it. And it's got like, Yeah, it's just the polished spine and like the attention, just all the attention to detail. And it might not be the flashiest knife ever, but it's like meant to do its job. That's
I
kind
love-
of what I'm about.
I love this. The line gradually
Mm-hmm.
goes up towards the tip,
Yeah,
widens it, and it's a little thinner at the tip, right?
yeah,
He's been trying really hard. Huh? Oh, here you go. So Maruyama-san's been trying real hard, right, to get this specific line.
Yeah. Oh, it's perfect.
And yeah, there's no like scratches or any. Some people, leaves tiny scratch along the here sometimes.
Yeah.
And it kind of disappoints me, but I even actually sent him the personal message, the direct message the other day, as I was looking at this exact blade, like the Lordy's favorite. I was like, I have to send him the message, say how good of the job he's actually doing.
Yeah.
I actually did a couple of days ago.
Nice, right on. Well, I
Yeah.
know you're a big fan of
I-
Maruyama-san and
yeah.
all of his job, his sharpening
Yeah.
job.
Yeah, no, I'm a huge fan of that knife. We've got a couple of the small, like the bunkas, the 210, the 240. We don't have any petties left.
And again, this is Hado Sakai is the company we're getting these guys from.
Yeah. Yeah, and even like the box is cool.
Yeah, their
You know,
website's
like-
great too.
Yeah, it's just every step of the way. It's a gorgeous knife. It kind of like in a completely different, like they don't feel the same, but it reminds me of like the thought process behind like the kotetsu knives, where it's like every decision along the way is to make it feel better, make it sharper. Like it's really like there's really something there for that.
I totally agree.
Yeah. In a different avenue altogether, we somehow still have this knife around.
Oh yeah. Don't those feel good though? Those Nigaras
Yeah.
with that Western style handle. The balance is so nice.
Yeah, it's a lot lighter than it looks like it should be because of that Western handle. And like even like the just attention to detail, like smooth transitions, the pins are gorgeous. You can't feel them, but you get to look at them. And I've gotten into more like I've been really into the powdered steels in the past couple of years.
Oh yeah. What is it about you like? What do you like about the powdered steel?
Is that I can put the knife down mid prep to go yell at my kids, and my knife won't rust.
Very practical. Very
That is,
practical.
yeah. I found that when I moved in, before we bought our house and everyone moved in together, I lived with my folks. And any cooking I did was just because I wanted to do it. But I found that when we moved in together, I was starting to struggle with my carbon steel knives a bit. Because there's just so much going on in the house all the time. Like I have a very you've called me and I've been at home. My house is a zoo.
Yeah.
Right. So it's, I just found that I've got a 210 Kotetsu. I've got a Haruyuki Kuma. I've got a couple Masashi knives. Like I just don't have to worry about them. And they really, they perform like super sharp, super thin. They do exactly what I want them to do. And I don't have to fuss about it.
A Nigara SG2 Bunka.
Yeah.
It's worth it. It's worth it. It's an excellent knife, man. Oh, you got the 240 Gyuto. Yeah, nice one, bud.
Yeah. No, well, I
mean,
grabbed
don't waste
another.
your time on a little knife, right? Just if you're gonna do it,
No.
just get a 240.
Well, speaking of that, I grabbed this 270. So we got a 270 Senko with an ironwood handle.
I would like to take you, Chris Lord, and that
Yeah.
270 Gyuto, and put you up against the Chris Lord of 10 years ago and his, I don't know, what did you have? Wusthof?
10 years ago, where was I working 10 years
What was your
ago?
chef's knife when you started? Do you have the Henkel 4-star or Victorinox?
I had a when I graduated culinary school, I bought a Victorinox, like one of those rosewood handled ones.
Yeah.
I had that for a long time, and then I got onto Globals for a bit, and then I was on Max before Knifewear opened up here.
Yeah, I had a couple Mac too.
Yeah,
I would
Mac-
just love to see you and your old Victorinox and this knife versus a case of onions.
Oh, for sure. Well,
You
old me
imagine?
might move faster though.
What's that?
Old me might move faster. New
Fair enough,
new
fair
me,
enough.
current me doesn't do anything too quickly. So, Naoto's got all the moves, eh? Like, look at this. How much like Shopping Network have you been watching lately, Naoto?
Dude, that one intro video that they've put together where Naoto spins the knife around to look at it from the other angle, just like, Jesus,
Oh,
man.
Every
like it's gonna
time it
knock
looks like
an
he's
eye
gonna
out.
he's gonna poke himself in the eye with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Spoon Monkey here saying, like, when I asked before about R2 from different blacksmiths and lines, and it's somewhat the same as it's a powdered steel, is there a big difference between HAP 40 and ZDP 189 from different smiths? I don't know. I've got a Mugen HAP 40, and those Hatsu Kokoros are much thinner than my Mugen.
Mhm.
So, like, I think that's one thing to keep in mind too, is when you're looking at a knife, like, sometimes I get a little bit mouthy about caring about the details so much, but sometimes it is geometry, right? And different steels, like harder steels, allow for different geometry. So, I don't have a ton of experience. Like, I've used a couple of ZDP knives. I don't own one though, but that was one of the other ones I grabbed to show off. It's almost like I've paid people to ask the right questions based on what I grabbed. So this one here is I can't remember. Of course, no one's got it written down for me. I just really like the look of it. Yoshida. Yeah, there we go. We got the same knife now. So, but yeah, this is like super thin. Like, another knife that I'm really familiar with that's made out of ZDP is are those Miyabi Black ash knives. And this knife and that knife couldn't be more different. Like, this knife, much thinner. Again. So.
Yeah.
Who makes this one again?
Yoshida?
Yoshida.
Yeah.
So.
It's really nice. It's nicely forged again. As Lordy said, it's really nice and thin, right?
Yeah. I'm a big fan of I didn't have one because it sold right away, but the bunka out of that line is nice. It's a little, it's a 180 bunka, so it's a little bit bigger than a lot of other people's. Like, a lot of bunkas are around 165.
Yeah.
And it's taller too. Like, it's not like a Takeda bunka, which is just like a cross-eyed Nakiri. This is like, it's just a little bit taller. You like that, eh, Mike? That was a good one.
It took a second to sink in. I was like, what does he mean? Oh, yeah. I get it.
Because it's like,
I haven't seen a Takeda in a long time.
Yeah, well, Alex has a Takeda bunka, and if like a Nakiri, I got a post-it note here because I'm in a new office. I got stuff available to me, So, but yeah, a Takeda Nakiri or a bunka is like if the Nakiri is on the bottom and the bunka's on the top. Like, it's more, and even that angle is.
Well, yeah, because a lot of times the Santoku gets the round cut off, the rounded sort of tip on the spine gets cut off and becomes a bunka, where he takes a Nakiri and cuts it back, and that becomes the bunka, right?
Yeah. At least that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, John May is agreeing with us. So
That's pretty. What'd you bring
yeah,
up?
I didn't bring one of those downstairs. No.
What'd you bring that, Mike? Just to show off?
It was right here on the table sitting next to me.
Oh, let's do that for a question.
And I can't help but look at those things because they're
gorgeous.
so beautiful. Look at that thing. And it feels amazing. The grind is amazing. The craftsmanship is impeccable, right?
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll answer Carlos's question because Carlos Carvajal Alvarado asked if we had any rare, beautiful Damascus.
This one here that we were looking at is this Satoshi Nakagawa-san's very signature Damascus look to it, right? I have to like look it up.
You don't have to.
Oh, okay, here. So here, this is beautiful Damascus. Another one that I liked, and I'm surprised that it's still sitting here. I guess like it's pretty new, and not many people know about this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Alchemy Super, carbon Damascus on the outside, and it's really hard to see. But if you look here, it's got a really nice, precise Damascus, as well as beautiful crochet finish.
Wow. Yeah, that is amazing.
It's made by this blacksmith. I'll say it because I think I'm not allowed. I'm just gonna say it. Gihei-san, and in Fukushima, he learned all his skills from Yoshikane, and the grind is great. It's got a really nice thickness right here, and it goes like really nice and thin. This one is called Hatsukokoro Shinkiro. Shinkiro means mirage.
Mirage. Yep. Good job.
Or something that you see if you get lost in the desert, that's what you see. The mirage.
Yeah.
That's what it kind of means. But look at it. Yeah, it's just so well done. The crotch is nice and black. Hammer is great. It's like everything is all in one knife, right? It's got a crochet.
I don't think I got to see one of those up close.
We only got a one.
Okay, that is so I didn't. That's good.
No,
that makes
This is as close as you're going to get to it.
So crochet, tsuchime, Damascus, super blue, and the edge is almost like a mirror.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about the name. I mean, mirage is cool. I don't know. I've never been lost in a desert, so I don't know what a mirage looks like.
I've been deserted.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at you.
Yeah. I bet you I'd like that knife.
It's
would
not.
I like that? You know what I like, Mike. Would I like that knife?
It's not a light, flimsy blade at all. It feels nice, man. Oh yeah, like all you got to do with that knife is pick it up and put it down.
Oh, perfect.
Well, this is a cool Damascus knife too, and we can't leave out the single bevels. Single bevels are beautiful, and if you cut fish and you don't have a single bevel, I mean, well, what are you waiting for? This Yanagiba is great for slicing the raw fish. It's a right-handed knife, right? But it's a really beautiful Damascus as well.
Wow.
Kind of looks like little bubbles.
This one's not. This one's not really Damascus.
Oh, I don't know.
It does look like Damascus to here.
Oh, it's that's pretty beautiful.
So this one, Satoshi Nakagawa, blue number 2, Honyaki. So you see the little line right here is a hamon. But
yeah, you can see it in the camera.
if you look close, although it's one piece of steel, like, it shouldn't have any layers of steel. It's too close, maybe. You can kind of see a little bit of grains. Some people call it banding. We call it tanryusen, basically metal flow.
Metal flow.
Show.
No, you can see it a bit. It's like the horizontal lines running on the blade, right? On the camera, it's showing up quite like it's catching a lot of the color.
Yeah, because the color is like coating, right?
Yeah.
But
oh, you got it there now. Oh,
here.
Yeah, that's a good spot. Yeah, that's good.
So, yeah, it's crazy how this looks, and it's it's functional as well. It's like really well sharpened, really nice thin blade, great, beautiful honyaki. Big up, Mike.
There's two things that I still think that I'm likely going to end up picking up, and these are total accessory land things. Now we had this thing a year ago, and I thought, what a dumb thing. And then every time I've taken butter out of my fridge and it's been cold and I wanted to use it right away, I thought I should have bought that thing. It wasn't that dumb after all. It's like a really long zester. It's a butter knife and it's sharp. Every one of these little holes is sharp. And so you run it across the cold butter, make little like angel hairs of butter that, of course, there we go. They're going to melt faster on your toast. And then you can spread it around evenly. You don't get that, like, you know, when you like try and force cold butter on your toast and it's like it breaks the toast and it's just a disaster, right?
I bought one. They're good.
And then you're the type of person who's just like, I'll just leave my butter out all the time. And then you live with someone who's like, what's this butter doing out? We're all going to die. This has to stay in the fridge. And then you wake up in the morning and you're just like, I thought I had it solved. Nope. This thing's really cool too. This is like, you know, when you're cooking something and it kind of maybe sticks, or you feel like you just want to pick it up with a knife, but you also realize your knife is $800 and you don't want to do that kind of thing to it. This is like a little kitchen knife. I think, like, if you're trying to get a cake out of a pan, right? You're trying to like lift foie gras. I mean, if you were trying to cut foie gras or butter, right? You could heat this piece of steel up and just drop it through. You're not going to worry about screwing up the temper on your knife or something, right? It's just a thin, flat piece of steel, but it's a good quality piece of steel. And it's got the right amount of kind of flex to it. Like, it's still sort of rigid. It's not flimsy, but it's bendy. I don't know if that's a great way to describe it, but I think they're smart. It's an Eatco.
We just had we were talking about a couple of knives for Carlos, that Croce Damascus Gyuto. Can you grab that guy again real quick? Carlos is just asking, they're wondering if that one would be preferable to an R2 Senko. They're just trying to decide between the two.
Senko and this guy here. So it means this one, right? Shinkiro?
Yep.
If you're looking for a knife to do a super thin razor type of blade, get Senko. This one, though, it's got really nice convex grind right here. It's really nice. And it still cuts beautifully.
It's a bit more all round.
It's a little bit more all around. It's got a little bit more, I don't know. It's got the, all around is really good terminology. It doesn't probably feel like a razor when you're cutting into something, but it still cuts beautifully.
I also like that absolutely very few people have one of these. There's a lot more Senkos that are going to be out there in the world.
Yeah.
This Shinkiro, like, I don't know if anyone has one of these.
The Senko to me sometimes feel like it's too thin for some
Absolutely.
works. It is razor. It is going to cut super, super beautifully when it comes to the the root veggies. But sometimes feel like he made it too thin, where it's got the way he forges. It's got really nice thick right here and distal tapers by. This is by forging it, right? So Mike is gonna measure the thickness.
So I always try to measure at the spine where it's balanced. And that's 3.87 millimeters. Versus 2.2. It's really hard to measure the edge, of course, because, I mean, we can measure the height of the bevel. It's 21.3 millimeter bevel.
Yeah.
Naoto's going to measure it. And that's just the edge to the...
Yeah, the bevel height is very similar, right? But the this Shinkiro, you said the 2 point whatever at the on the spine here. The really thin part goes to like
1.8.
1.8 at the this
That's incredible.
this right here, like before it get, so it's forges from 3 mil to like 1.9.
That's a big difference.
It's done a really good job.
Yeah.
I don't know. I personally, Shinkiro is great. The way I'm really admired how.
So the Shinkiro is 251 grams. And this is the 240 or 270?
240. With the
I got
Western handle.
270.
This, the 240 Gyuto is 240 grams.
10 grams difference.
So again, so the 240, 250, so 10 grams heavier on the Shinkiro.
Awesome. Well, we've got some more questions to blast through. And we got some more guests coming up soon.
Okay,
Lordy,
push
did
it
you
around.
have any closing thoughts from the Ottawa garage sale?
Closing thoughts. What? Holy, make it so official. I don't know.
It's like,
man.
so like you have to give us your commencement speech now.
Yeah. Fuck, I don't know what to say. Really put me on the spot there. I got a Sobakiri. How about that? Closing thoughts. Jesus. I don't know.
Well, I
It was
guess
a lot
the
of
answer
fun.
is no.
It was a lot of fun. You know what? I had a really good time. I was like, we had a blast in the store. It was great having everybody come back. There were so many faces I hadn't seen in a long time. Like, there's the people who, like, you know, we've got our regulars, right? I think every Knifewear's got their regulars. Like, oh, it's Tuesday and, you know, Matt's here or whatever. But it was great to see a lot of people kind of that we've just missed over the past while. Like, everyone, especially here in Ottawa, people are starting to feel a little safer getting out. Like, it was just great. Like, I'm really excited even just for the next garage sale. Like, the weekend is probably going to be nuts down here. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if you got to wait in line in the store again for the weekend.
Lordy, we just, you know, as you know, we got the top ups the other day.
Yeah.
We managed to have a box full of knives going out to you guys today. Like,
Oh,
super
cool.
fast. So hopefully they arrive tomorrow for you guys.
There's Alex.
Hey, Alex.
No, it's over here. Out the camera over here. There you are.
So yeah, you'll be expecting some of the little top ups tomorrow. So
Oh, perfect. We're getting knives tomorrow.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Some of that. the new
Little
stuff
top
that
up.
came in.
Little top up move. Oh, I know what you're looking for.
yeah, so hopefully that will kind of help you a little, you know, weekend.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And we've still got a load of great stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like a surprising amount. Based on how much left, the amount that we've still got is insane.
Yeah.
My
So-
top two picks, the Nakagawas,
Nakagawa's are Al's top two picks.
both still here.
Yeah.
Both here.
I know.
I'm very
I know.
surprised.
Yeah.
I know. That knife is like beautiful.
Yeah. That's Naoto's one of Naoto's many picks as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me and Naoto.
Yep.
You and Naoto, you got something in common.
Yeah, we like this.
Yeah. You're both Japanese. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna say goodbye, I guess.
All right.
Yeah, I guess Nathan probably wanted my closing thoughts, and now I've given them.
Right.
All right. Well, you guys have a good rest of your day.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks, Chris.
Okay. Later.
So are we getting someone else joining us?
Yeah, we'll have I believe Colin from Calgary coming in next in about half an hour.
Oh.
In the meantime, though, we got lots of questions, so why don't we blast through
Let's
some
do
of
the
these?
questions.
Mike H was wondering, been waiting patiently, wondering about that Nakiri that somebody put away that was right there. The Tsugifusa Megaki that we got as a late arrival. Wondering who the maker is. Tsugifusa. And how tall it is. That guy's 185, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you want to tell us a little bit about that guy? And I'll find a link for Mike there.
Yeah. So this one here is made in the Tosa region by the a little bit more like manufacturer type of situation. The height at the heel here is right about like 52 millimeters. It's nice and tall. Again, Aogami Super stainless cladding will make it really easy. It was fantastic steel to begin with, and the stainless cladding will make it really easy to take care for. It does. This is one of those knives that have gone through the little machine to make. It's not a machine. Well, it is a machine. But two people, right? We saw it at one of those places. They have big rolls, and the two guys on the other side, one sends the knife and the other one catches. Like it's super hot.
And it's like it's run through this conveyor belt forge that gets it super hot, and these guys run it back and forth through this machine.
Yeah, to make
it's a totally different way of doing a forging.
Taper. And this one does have a slight taper from the here.
The distal taper. The overall dimensions of that knife, Mike, are very standard Nakiri dimensions, both height, length, width.
I just popped a link in the description there because those weren't on the website. So I'm just gonna be right back.
Yeah. So for example, the thickness of the heel here is 2.1, 2.2, and it gets to 1.
A little detail to point out here.
Like 5.
And maybe we can flop the camera over here, but look at the way that they have.
Oh no, there's actually this one.
Here. This one.
There you go.
Hey, we figured it out. Now I'm moving my cursor right where Naoto's finger is. If you look, the choil of the knife is actually beveled. It's not curved so much as it's actually beveled off. If you're holding a knife for a really long time and that spot of the blade, as well as the spine of the blade, if that's rough, you feel it. It starts to wear out, especially washing your hands a bunch, your skin gets a little softer, you start ripping your hands apart. But they've done a really nice job just beveling that off right there.
Trying to find the one that's more rough, but can't find it. A lot of them are taking.
So yeah, that's a beautiful knife. Aogami Super is the core steel. That's the one that's making up the edge material. It's a carbon steel, so you're going to see that edge tarnish. But Aogami Super does have a bit of chromium in it, so it doesn't really rust that easily. A little bit more user-friendly while still getting the same awesome carbon steel edge. And Aogami Super is really well known for holding an edge like bananas sharp.
Yeah. If you're looking for a Nakiri, this is great selection as well. Tadahusa SLD Nakiri. It's stainless steel, semi-stainless steel. It depends on.
SLD is a nice steel. It's more of a tool steel, right?
It's a good. Should be a. It's a tool steel. It's a die-cast steel. To cut with the steel.
It's steel that cuts steel.
Yeah. Steel
Don't cut steel with this knife. That's not how it was made.
But this one here is almost like really close to stainless steel. I wouldn't consider this as a stainless steel, but some people have managed to have a tarnish on them. So we sometimes say it's a semi-stainless steel, but it's almost stainless steel. But this steel is great. It holds the edge really nice and long. 145 on this guy with this. We have two variants. One is a little bit more like this so-called the Kasumi finish, and there's the Shinogi, which is this line. Shinogi finish line, we only have like 3, and the Shinogi one is slightly taller. At the heel, it is like 52 or 51, 52, where the regular one, or the Kasumi one, is only 44 millimeters. So it's quite a bit difference in the height. So if you like tall and Nakiri, get this one with the.
Cool.
And there's a corresponding image on the website. So.
Sorry, folks. Apparently, some of the new arrivals weren't on the website. So Ellie's just fixing that for us right now. Yeah. CG Martin had asked a while ago to see some of those detachable handle pans. Why don't we show those off? They're super cool. Another thing that I'm surprised that we still have some.
So these are carbon steel pans, not so much cast iron. So that means it's a piece of steel that's been hammered out into its shape, and you can really see it. You know, it's not perfectly smooth around the edge. You can see a little bit of scale left on it. They are nice and flat on the bottom, but they're definitely kind of rustic. This type of steel, it feels really good. It's fairly heavy, but it's really dense. It's going to conduct heat really nicely. This pan's 726 grams. But the cool thing is how these handles work. Where are we? Right here. Right? So I've got this sort of like a forked end of the handle. Slide it on, tilt it, and pick it up. So I think this would be great for camping. Fun to serve food directly in. Or if you're doing, like if you cook a lot of stuff in your oven, like I know when I cooked in restaurants, we did a lot of searing a piece of a meat, throw it in the oven to roast it. It's kind of convenient to be able to take the handle off. Then it won't be blistering hot when you pull it out. And it also won't, you don't have to worry about the handle bumping around other stuff in the oven.
Yeah, this is great. I see this is great. Sunny side up pan in the morning. Grill sandwich, grilled cheese.
We should do a morning show with you, Nato. It should be called Sunny Side in the Morning.
Sunny side in the morning.
Sunny Side in the Morning.
Which I can't eat.
That's right. That'd be a cruel show.
You know what?
There's eggs that you can't.
I cook egg very good though.
I bet.
I cook egg very good. My wife is. I cook better than my wife when it comes to eggs.
Yeah,
Frying.
Good save.
Yeah.
Good save.
Yeah, good save.
Good qualify.
All right, well, CB, not a question, just that I finally bought my first pair of sharpening stones. Pre-garage sale thing, but I'm so excited to destroy some old cheap knives of practice.
Awesome.
Great,
Yeah.
have fun. Send us pictures if you have problems. We can help you out.
Yeah.
Pictures speak 1,000 words.
Rihase was asking any word on the new Musashi lines and when they'll be available. Can we say now?
We can probably say now.
Yeah. We're gonna release them at
July,
the end of
August, June.
end of June.
And June.
Yeah, probably last Friday in June. We're thinking. So stay tuned. That'll probably be June 24th.
Tell us about. There's 2 new lines, right? What are they called?
One is called Kaijin. So some Kaijin and Kokuen, they're 2 different words. Kaijin could mean lots of different words, but the Kaijin that we use means ashes. Look at that.
Oh, perfect
So
timing.
the one on the top one is Kaijin. It's got a little ash look, and that represents his.
That's Musashi.
Yeah.
He loves smoking cigarettes, and he actually uses hot steel to light his cigarettes in between forging.
It does. So that's Kaijin. Kokuen is that guy here, black smoke. Again, also has to because we had a Kemuri, which means smoke, right? So it's just a black.
They look so good. That one with the maple handle, whew.
Yeah.
Dude, that is so nice. Yeah. Listen, he wanted to step up the game. He's working with some apprentices, and he's trying to progress what they're doing. So he wanted to change up the knives he was making. And as we've been seeing what he's been doing, his blades have been getting better. I mean, hard to imagine that his knives are getting better. But for example, he's been doing some lab testing on his knives. And the crazy thing is his VS1 steel is landing at, 64 and a half?
64, yeah.
64 Rockwell on his VS1 steel. And that's not an estimate, right? That's not, a lot of times the blacksmith provides us the Rockwell hardness. And it's based off of, if you heat treat a knife in a certain way, you'll land in or around this region. Yeah. Right? But he's sent knives away. He's paid lots of money to have someone take his knives, cut them apart, and measure them. Actually measure them.
It actually needs to be cut like in half, and sometimes like different spots. Yeah. Like there's knives that cuts only like here.
Yeah, well, his knife had been measured, and I believe it was 9 spots, or was it 6 spots? Yeah, it was cut in 3 pieces. Yeah. And they measured the hardness at the spine, the center, and the edge to see the consistency.
They do a like heel, middle, tip, or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just incredible.
It was really cool to see the results, and just to see that is 64, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's almost like super blues, like hardness,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I've got a VS1 Santoku of his, and man, that thing is so sharp, and it stays that way, but it bites. It bites into stuff.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm a fanboy of Masashi-san. So we're excited, A, to see his new line of knives get launched here in June, and then B, we're currently kind of working out the kinks. It's looking like end of July, beginning of August. Definitely a solid midsummer. We're going to see him. He's going to come visit us here. He's going to visit all of the stores, Calgary, Edmonton, Ottawa, and Vancouver. We're going to try and do a couple of different things, possibly some events, probably some engraving. Hopefully we can get some time set aside to sit and drink a beer with the man and do some Q&A.
Yep.
And so if you're a real knife nerd or you're a chef who wants to know more about knives and how they interact with food, because he is very serious about not just how you make a knife, but what happens when you cut food with it. So we got to sit and talk about that with him. It was like mind expanding. He's a super smart individual.
Yeah.
And he's a good time. So if we have those things booked, we'll definitely get the news out to you as soon as possible.
Yep.
Follow us on social media. Sign up for our mail out if you're really into it. And hopefully you'll get a chance to meet him as well.
And are the new lines going to be the same as the prototypes that we just showed?
What do you mean?
Same
Videos.
design, same finish, handle, everything?
Handle, yes. Design, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Pretty
ones
much
that
the
were
same.
in the picture you just rolled.
The video, yeah.
I mean, there's like a little bit of a variations on how dark that
Sure,
quality is.
yeah. But pretty much as we showed them.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they're going to
Cool.
look like.
And say, for example, the Koku and the black finish one.
Yeah.
All of them have this so-called be curious to get it.
Oh.
Santoku, even Petty, and the
Petty? Oh,
Hell yeah.
yeah.
Kick ass.
Okay. And one other thing to mention, we have a Toronto pop-up. We are in Toronto, June 13th to 19th. Somebody was clarifying earlier if we were at 28 Bathurst Street, because that's like 5 minutes from them. Yes, we are. 28 Bathurst Street,
You
Stack
can
Market,
come every day.
June 13 to 19. Come hang out.
Get to meet Kasumi. She'll be there with our friend Alex from the Ottawa shop.
Yeah.
And we are bringing a sharpening wheel and a full kit of stones, so we'll be able to sharpen your knives for you.
Yeah. Daddy Knows Best said, loving my Hatsukokoro Kumokage Aogami Kurochi Damascus Gyuto 210 and Yu Kurosaki R2 Senko Western Boca 165.
Whoa, nice one. Yeah, that's fun. I mean, I remember chatting with you on Monday, and to know that you've already got your knives and we're back chatting again, that's fantastic.
Yeah, no kidding.
Wakanga is actually really well, beautifully made.
Yeah.
For that price.
Well, apparently we got them feeling like they want to fill out their collection. We're asking if we had any Matsubara Hamono Petty. I don't think we do. But anything that you would recommend to round out that collection?
We can't. So Matsubara Petty. There were a lot of like games about who made the knife, especially in some parts of Japan. This one here is the Sakai Kikumori Aogami. That's one of the knives that Mike loves. And he didn't really tell us who actually forged the knife. I suspect it's Matsubara, the Tanaka-san of the Matsubara Hamono. It has such there's places that they don't want to tell you who actually made the knives.
Well, there's such a thing as trade secrets, and
Yeah.
they exist everywhere, and they have whatever their reasons are why they're not really into sharing all the information. But I think Naoto's right.
I think it's.
I'm pretty sure this is Matsubara.
I think it's because this Santoku just looks exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, like that. So,
Like this Petty, was what I love. I don't know if it's very functional knife. We're frozen near end, everybody.
We're to get him back. Must be the having.
How about now?
Okay.
Now.
Let me just listen, make sure the sound's good.
Now. Yes.
Okay, we're all good. Thanks, folks. I'm going to blame it on the wind and the rain today.
Hey, if you want, you can blame it on me.
Oh, well.
Again,
You can blame it on the rain.
I can't verify. I can't verify if this is actually Tanaka-san from Matsubara Hamono, not the.
Right. So I was telling you what I like about it. What I like about it is that it's a little bit taller, right? I feel like I can use this like a chef's knife. If I want to just chop up a pepper and an onion and saute it, easy peasy, no problem. It's a very convenient, comfortable knife to use. It can get a lot of work done. 150 mils. You know, you're almost at a Santoku length at this point. But it is not the narrow, skinny kind of petty that would be a good stand-in for something like a boning knife. A really skinny knife allows you to go around those curves of stuff like a bone really easily because it's skinnier. It goes around, it turns more easily. That's the reason why we love cutting vegetables with nikiris is that tall blade tracks through the food better, so it cuts a little bit straighter. So this is a bit of a taller petty. Again, I would say we're getting it more like, we're talking more like this is a small chef's knife. I think if you're looking for a knife that you want to use just to be convenient, you don't always want to pull out your big 240 or something. This is nice. Stainless steel cladding, carbon steel core. If you're going to go stay at an Airbnb in Mexico for a week, like this is a great knife to take with you.
Absolutely.
So it's $275. It's the Sakai Kikumori Aogami Nashiji is the name when you're looking for it on the website.
Cool. Yeah, I can pop a link in there if you need.
Great, thank you.
So Daniel was asking, I already bought a 240 Mizaki.
Nice work, bud. I love his knives.
Yeah, they're rad, which I'm super excited about receiving, but I don't have a Kiritsuki yet. Any badass Kiritsukis still left? Naoto's just gathered some there for you.
Oh, badass Kiritsuki.
Yeah.
I mean, Kiritsukis are all badass. Well, we got some new badass Kiritsuki.
And it depends on whether you're talking about a single bevel or Kiritsuki or Kiritsuki Gyuto.
Well, yeah, you're right, Nathan. That's a great thing to clarify. So this is a real Kiritsuki. And a real Kiritsuki is a single bevel knife, and it is kind of a cross between a Yusuba and a Yanagiba. So you can do all that kiramuki stuff, like where you're peeling, or you're doing the rotating cut or the sasagaki, like the real traditional classic Japanese sushi chef kind of cut on vegetables, plus works great on slicing raw fish. So that's where you end up getting this tip. It's like a Yanagiba that's often a little bit straighter. I'd say this one is has more curve than a lot of the Kiritsuki, because the Kiritsuki often has almost a pin straight edge to it. Now, they look really cool with that angled tip. So what we see now is a lot of guys making essentially a gyuto and cutting the tip off, cutting that rounded tip off, right? Like this is the Senko. This feels great. As we mentioned on an earlier part about Senko, this is a very light feeling knife. This is very delicate, very precise feeling. And you can see where he drops the spine down here. That effectively makes your clearance higher, right? So it makes the blade taller without making it bigger. Kurosaki Senko is SG2 powdered stainless, $872. We got a couple other cool things here. Yeah. Well, this is made by Tanaka-san, who is a crazy good blacksmith. This is a very nicely polished knife. It looks a little bit more like a tank to me. It certainly does not feel like a tank, though. Lots of core steel exposed. It's a white carbon #2 steel in the core, but stainless cladding to the outside. So best of both worlds. You will see tarnish happen on the core. White carbon steel likes to tarnish and even rust. But just the grinding and the sharpening on this knife is quite incredible. That's a beautiful knife. It's $470. And you'll find that searching Sakai Kikumori Asagiri, Asagiri. That one's cool too. It's a 225 millimeter blade. Lots of these that we've got here are 210 millimeters. Now this guy's cool. This is Sugifusa Algami Super core stainless cladding, Kurochi finish, $306. Now we're getting more of that traditional sort of shape with that really straight edge. We do have a slight curve here at the tip, allows you for a bit more rocking. One thing to always be aware of when you've got a tiny, skinny little tip like this fella, if you are doing a lot of rocking when you're chopping and you're pulling up, you can easily sink the tip of that Kiritsuki into the cutting board and wouldn't be hard to knock it off. So when you're cutting, often a backward stroke or sort of an up and down and more of a diagonal motion without picking the heel of the knife up too much. What else we got here? What's this guy? This is beautiful. This is a Sugifusa VG10. VG10's a great knife steel. We see it in a lot of places, and we see it in a lot of places because it's great for making a kitchen knife. It's a stainless steel. It's got tons of carbon in it, so it results in a very nice hard edge. Range around 62 on the Rockwell hardness scale if you're nerdy like that. A little bit of texture on that Damascus gives you a little bit of food release. Nice sort of like single piece handle. This is a light, thin knife, skinny, real shiny. Kind of has a bit of that surgical look to it.
Does this consider to be a Kiritsuke? No.
Nope, I wouldn't call that a Kiritsuke at all, but I would say it's worth showing because it's really badass.
They call it bunka, eh? They
Tall
call
bunka.
it tall bunka. Just only because this part is just cut it like that, right?
This looks like a tank. This looks like it should drive through someone's front door who's like,
It's great beveling though. It's actually really nice, thick beveling. It's not like really fragile type of edge.
No, that feels nice.
Yeah.
I'm just so afraid of these. I feel like if you hit your knuckle, there would be nothing to stop, and your knuckle would be very different shape, like that. Here, let's try. Stick your finger
Yeah.
up. Let's try.
I've already shaved enough.
It'll grow back. Don't worry.
We talked about the traditional single bevel Kiritsuke.
Yeah, we did. We talked about how they're really quite a versatile knife, and if you were looking at getting a single bevel, I mean, if you haven't got one, you should really try it. They do have their place in a kitchen. They are a little bit unique.
John May says, "Tall bunka, a tank for when you're waiting for your tank."
I couldn't agree more, John May.
Yeah.
And then a tank for when you get your tank, because tank is not a tank. Tank is a very, very, very fine, delicate knife. That's what makes it so special. And that fella there that just went back, it's a little more on the cleaver side of things. Don't cut through bones with that one, though.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Powell L was asking, could you tell me something about NKS32 steel? Is it good and how to care for it? Naoto?
I don't think we've ever sold a knife with that steel, so
Sounds very like American steel. I will.
Yeah.
NKS32.
In the meantime, Michael L had asked if we had any Tetsujin metal flow here to show, but I believe the ones we had in the warehouse are sold out.
Okay.
yeah.
John May was asking about the new scratch and dent. Because we had a few of those, right?
Can you put up the name of that steel again, please? I'll keep
Yep.
searching now till you go scratch and dent.
So Naoto's going to throw up the scratch and dent. Mike, that is the NK S32.
Nothing good.
John, this is the new scratch and dent stuff.
So something like these guys, it's actual. It's the scratch and then there's like refarb section that we had before. These ones are like sold as is type of situation.
Yeah, like the as is section at IKEA.
Yeah. So like this, it has
This is the Miyabi Birchwood
Miyabi
90 mil petty.
Birchwood. I can see tiny bit of space here.
Oh, yeah. Little gap there.
And yeah. Can you look up the price on this guy?
Yeah, for sure. So there's just subtle imperfections, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we've got some other Miyabis too, right? Some Miyabi Kos.
So this one here.
Okay, so that Miyabi Petty appears to have sold already.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That was $199.
Oh, okay. This one here, it's perfectly. It's never been used. It's like great condition when it comes to the sharp edge, except it's bent, slightly off-centered.
This guy's $150.
Oh, there.
That's the 240 Suji, right?
Yeah, that's 240 Suji.
Wow.
Yeah, could not be. So if you're just using it, just slicing stuff up, it's great steel. Miyabiko made with their signature stainless steel. I can't remember which. They have their own names, right? The FC61 steel here. So slightly.
That 61 often is a reference to the hardness of the steel.
Often, yeah.
So, and that is a mono steel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna leave it like this, and the other one also the Sugifusa, and it has a slight bend to it. Did you find that in the info?
It's in Japanese. There were some references to a couple Masamoto, I think it was, that were using it, but there's something that says this was possibly the company that makes the steel. It looks like it's a bearing steel.
Yeah, it does look like bearing steel.
So it might be something. There's a couple of younger people. There's a younger generation in Japan right now, and they have an idea that something that equals progress is to start playing with different materials. So not everyone is doing that. Some people are sticking to the ones they know, like our friend Masashi is really just trying to go deeper and deeper into the ones that he's got, the SLD and the VS1. There's other people trying to branch out and try new stuff. So fun and exciting. And I can tell you right away that I haven't used a knife or cared for a knife made out of this steel. So unfortunately, I couldn't give you a really great resource as to what you're asking. But I'm excited to find out about new types of steel. So thanks, Paul.
And Michael, just to clarify there, you're asking about the Tetsujin. Unfortunately, the Tanryusen, they are at other locations. So unfortunately, we can't show them off.
Is that other location going to be joining us at some point?
Possibly.
Vancouver?
Yeah, Vancouver will be on later. I'll get Francis to bring us one. Well, we have another guest here. This is from Calgary.
Oh,
good.
Mr.
Oh, good. I was
McGuire.
hoping you weren't going to say Edmonton. It'd be so hard to look at those people in Edmonton in their eyes and know that they're going to lose.
Well, yeah, we didn't invite them today.
They're going to lose at the sports games we're playing together right now.
Much competition. Kevin was in here earlier talking about the bet he's got going with Acme Meat Market about who's going to win. And, you know, if Kevin loses, he's going to have to wear Oilers jersey. So, you know, good thing that the Flames are going to win, right?
Now I might be on Corey's side, you know?
Just to see Kevin wearing an Oilers jersey.
I'm in a unique position, Paul. I don't know if you know this, but I was born in Edmonton and I moved to Calgary when I was about 3 years old. So I can often claim ignorance. Like, I never knew anything about Edmonton. I left before I even had a memory in my brain. But I can also then play the card of like, wow, I was born there, man. Like, so
just jump on the bandwagon as need be.
it's hockey. Isn't that what people do anyway?
Yeah.
Oh, I should be careful now. Yeah. Listen, how was your sale? How'd the garage sale go? You see lots of people?
Yeah. The first day was great. Nice to have COVID be a little bit more calm so that we could have more people in the store. And we had a lineup out the door the first day. So lots of hype, lots of energy. Lots of people really excited to just come in and check it out and see all the new stuff, whether they're new customers or old customers, you know? So
Right.
It's going great. Naoto, you did great work getting us all these cool knives. So thank you.
well,
Speaking of which,
we both were in Japan.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it was fun. And
Thank
and
you.
we even made sure to not send you any chuka bocho because we feel like maybe we ought to wean you off your obsession there.
Well, I tell you what, Mike, the people need big, tall knives. And if people come into my shop and that's what they want, that's what they're going to get.
That's right. Well, we were just showing off the tall bunka. Do you have that?
I do, yeah.
Okay, tell us, you're our resident expert on the chukabocho and the shapes and the sizes. Let's talk about the uses of these. And if I'm looking at a chukabocho, how do I know that this is one that I can cut through stuff like bones and chickens and heavier hard stuff? Is it just from feeling how thick it is?
It's a combination of factors, thickness for sure, but also the type of steel and how hard it is. So this one here is the tall bunka forged by Kenji Togashi, and it's carbon steel. It's nice and hard. This is Sakai Takayuki, and it's pretty thin. So if you look at it sort of from the handle along the choil, like it kind of disappears into the thinness there, right? But yeah. So this one is definitely a slicing cleaver. This is not for cutting through bones at all. But nice and thin, and with that height, it's going to be great. Even if you're cutting tall stuff like cabbage, where with a smaller knife, the cabbage likes to kind of jump over the top as you're going, right?
Right.
But with this one, you're not going to have that problem, and it's got a bit of weight to it. So for people who want a really thin knife that also has that weight behind it, you just push this forwards and it falls through the food, no problem.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And this is a good size for like home use, for kind of everyday use. It's like 180 something millimeters, handmade. So 180-ish, right?
Ish, yeah.
Yeah. Really great for just all your everyday prep needs. And it's got, enough of a tip with that kind of, we call it like a tall bunka or a tuka bunka. It's got enough of a tip there that you can actually get and do a bit of more detail work, which could be harder to do with a more squared off, taller kind of knife. I'm a big fan of these. It's quite a new shape, right? That jacked up mega bunka kind of thing.
Where's my mic? Oh, there. Hey, what can you tell us about this?
That one is the Sugimoto CM4030, and it's also a slicing cleaver. So Sugimoto makes some of the best Chinese cleavers in the world. They were one of the first Japanese companies to start making chukabocho after the Second World War, and they really do a great job. I've had a chance to use that particular knife a bunch because we had a demo here, and I'd play with it every chance I get. It's really nice and thin and nice and stainless. The CM steel is like a chromium molybdenum steel, so it's not as wear resistant as some of the like molybdenum vanadium steels, which means it's easier to sharpen, it's easier to hone. I've had a chance to sharpen a few that have come back, and man, it's pretty easy to sharpen. It takes just a wicked edge. It's really nice and thin, good edge retention. They push that steel hard with the heat treatment, and that's also a really great size for home cooks. That one is a little bit bigger, like a little bit longer than the tall bunka. I think that one's like 195 millimeters. But really nice and thin and great. Of course, its big brother there, the Sugimoto number 2, that is a beast. That's a workhorse. Now you're getting into like more a professional size, much harder steel than what you get with the CM4030, but still that same heritage of Chinese cleaver making from Sugimoto. That one's got some weight to it. And in fact, it's got quite a taper to it. So, from the spine to the tip, it tapers quite a bit, which means it's thicker at the heel and thinner at the tip. And that one, you can use it a bit like a combination between a Chinese chef's knife and like a deba or a hanasuki. So you're not going to chop bones with that. That's not a bone cleaver. Please do not chop bones. Otherwise, you'll be bringing it to us for chip repair. But you could go through joints and cartilage at the heel there, the last sort of 2 inches. You could use that to break down a chicken and not worry about it too much. If you're going through fish bones and you're not whacking at it, but like pressing through the same way you would with a deba, right at the heel there, you could also go through some small bones with that one.
So I have a question I wonder if maybe you know already is cooked bones over raw bones. Like if you simmer chicken or you roast a chicken, do the bones soften up enough you can cut through it with one of these cleavers?
With any of the ones we just looked at, I wouldn't risk it. You might be able to with the number 2 there.
Okay.
If it was like, some cooked chicken rib bones, but there are other cleavers that would be better suited to that. I think it's like this one, the CCK pig meat knife, the Juyo Do That is a beast, designed for hanging butchery. And it's, got a real serious taper to it. So it's pretty thin at the front for slicing, but the heel of that one is thick enough. And, with the Chinese made cleavers, the steel's not as hard as the Japanese stuff. Like, look at how thick that spine is. You could go up to like pork ribs at the heel of that one.
Mhm.
Bring out your mallet, right? Hit the back of the cleaver there. But then for slicing at the front, still pretty thin. I think that one also would make an awesome mesaluna if you want to rock chop herbs like a total badass.
Oh yeah.
Just get two-handed power rock and forget about it.
Well, I think about when I look at a knife that tall and that big, I think about those street taco vendor guys that have, they've pulled something they've roasted out of a pit, a whole animal, and they've just sort of shredded the meat, and now they're trying to chop it up. And again, it's like chopping a cabbage, right? You're going through such a big pile of stuff, it starts to go over the top of the knife, and you kind of get lost in it. And if you're doing a lot of work cutting through big piles, you're doing it for 8 or 10 or 12 hours, that big knife's your friend, right?
It is indeed. Yeah, the height is a real advantage because you can scoop so much. It's one of my favorite things about using tall knives, whether that's a Mega Nakiri or a Chukabocho or a Chukabunka or any of those kind of tall knives. You can just scoop up so much stuff with them. The height's a real advantage. And with these CCK knives, think about how much of a curve that's got. And if you were to straighten out that edge, think about how long the blade would actually be. So it's a really, really long knife that you can use in a smaller space without, having your knife run into the wall behind you if you're on the line or something.
Mm-hmm.
The one
That's a good point.
there has the lovely name in Chinese of stomach opening knife. Yeah.
Doesn't translate very well.
Yeah, 会头豆. It's surprisingly versatile. It's definitely not as thick as its big brother there. It's thick enough at the heel that you could go through some chicken joints, but that one's real thin at the front. And it's pretty light. Like, even though it's tall, it's a smaller knife. And we've had a bunch of people buy them just to play around with because they're not too expensive. They're pretty fun. It's carbon steel, but both those knives have a lacquer on them. And I've got a couple other ones from that series. Like, I have the Mulberry knife and I have the Nine Rivers knife from that series. And I use them pretty regularly, and I haven't had any trouble with rust because they've got that lacquer on them. It'll wear away eventually, right? But like, so far, a few months in with them, no problem with rust. Yeah, the stomach opening knife there, also sometimes called a scraping knife. I'm not sure why. Pretty versatile. Great for rock chopping. It's flat enough at the back that you can chop, and like with that curve and tip, you can do some slicing.
Cool. So what else do you have from the garage sale to show us, Colin?
A perennial favorite around here is not a big knife. It's this series of whale knives. So Tosa is on Shikoku Island, and they're pretty famous for their whaling industry. This one is the fin whale, and I think out of all of them, it's probably got like the most usable shape if you want to just use it in your hand as like a little paring knife, coring strawberries. Carbon steel, 3 layers, super cute, not too expensive. What are these, $67? Like, buy the whole set. Put them out as charcuterie knives. This is another one that I don't own, but one of my coworkers does, and I've played around with it a bunch. And yeah, they're fun. They look like toys, but they're real knives. I'm also a pretty big fan of these guys from Seki Kanatsugu. They've got a really nice tsuchime hammer pattern on the back. The handle is 7-sided, so this angle here really indexes where the edge, because that angle lines up with the edge. So when you're holding it, your fingers tell you exactly where that edge is, which I quite enjoy. And it's VG2 steel, so it's nice and stainless. It's maybe a little bit tougher than some other Japanese steels. It's still going to have good edge retention. But, for me with a petty knife, I tend to be a little bit rougher on them. I'm not like chopping through bones or anything. I'm not like using it to break down chickens. But, I might be inclined to cut up a lime and then put the knife down and go put the lime in my gin and tonic and drink it before I clean the knife. And if
somebody on Monday asked about the best knives behind the bar, and I think this would be one of the absolute best knives behind the bar. Tough, moisture-proof handle, like low maintenance steel.
Yep.
And a really nice price. You know, the petty knife is $112 Canadian, small Canadian dollars for the US viewers.
That's
So I
really
think
nice
that's
to
like
wear,
it's
too.
a real
It's super
banger.
thin. Sorry.
There's also some super beautiful stuff. Like we got a second transfer in from garage sale. Luckily in Calgary, we're real close to the warehouse. So this is from Takeshi Saji. It's Rainbow Damascus. And I know that might be a little hard to see, but you can trust me that there's a bunch of different colors in it. Really like beautiful clip tip on it. And Saji's such a great blacksmith. You know, he's been at it for a really long time, and he's still getting better. You know, I saw an old Saji knife. He comes from a background as a hunting knife maker, right? So I saw this old Saji kitchen knife that Kasumi, the manager here at Knifewear Calgary, she told me it must have been like 12 years old or something. And it was a little thicker. It almost looked like more like a hunting knife done kitchen knife style. But his new ones, like this one, is really thin. It's a high performance, thin laser beam, beautiful kitchen knife.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's amazing how those guys are still improving the quality of the knives that they're producing, right? After so many years of like experience in workmanship, right?
It's true. I love to see that. Kaizen, I think. Now, and Naoto, you'll correct me if I'm wrong with the translation, but isn't Kaizen something like continuous improvement?
Yeah.
I'm big into that. You know, you can always be better. There's no such thing as perfect. And I think a lot of the blacksmiths we work with really embody that work ethic of always trying to make it better.
And also because of the experience that they've already accumulated, it made it a little bit easier for them to do the work, right? Okay, I'm gonna forge this little bit thinner.
Yeah.
To work a little bit better, and also they can just do it, right?
Yeah, they got the skills already to experiment and try different stuff. And so, speaking of trying different stuff, here's a really cool knife. There's not too many of these in the company. This is the Mugen. So if I come a little closer here.
Yeah, we don't have that knife here.
Yeah, this is carbon core. This is super blue carbon core with stainless Damascus cladding.
Mm-hmm.
Now, up until not that long ago, if you wanted a Damascus knife, either you had carbon steel on carbon steel or you had stainless steel on stainless steel. But this is stainless Damascus on carbon core. And it's 270 millimeter Sugihiki. And this is probably my favorite combination of steels. Like super blue carbon steel is a little harder than some of the other carbons. It's a little bit more forgiving with the reactivity and rust. Really super nice. And, we've had these around for a bit. So I tell you what, if you come on down to Knifewear Calgary, I might be able to swing you a bit of a deal on this one. They're really, really nice. And that's a good length for a Sugihiki, like 270 millimeters. Longer is better when you're slicing meat. You don't want to saw back and forth at that nice steak that you just spent good money on, right? Or your prime rib or whatever. Pretty big fan of those. Now, here's another one. If you didn't know already, I like tall knives. So even with like a gyuto, I like a taller knife. This is from Sakai Kikumori. And they're not telling us who the blacksmith is on this one, last I heard. That's kind of a bit of a secret. But it's carbon core, stainless cladding. There we go. Now it's got the better camera too. I really like how tall this one is. Like really tall at the heel, so you get lots of knuckle clearance. If you're the kind of person who likes a finer point on your knife, because that's maybe one knock against my favorite. I love the cleavers, but they don't have much of a point on the front. It's got a corner. This has a good usable point on it, but it's nice and tall. And carbon core stainless cladding, so, pretty easy to take care of. and they round out the choil a little bit there, like right where your fingers go when you're grabbing onto the handle. That's nicely rounded. The edge on the spine is nicely rounded. It's still kind of rustic, like they're not mirror polishing the spine and choil, but very, very comfortable in hand. And this is another knife that a coworker has and that I have had a chance to use. Like, we like to trade knives around here, right? So playing around with this one, it's got a really nice taper from the back to the front. So like if you're chopping, it's pretty sturdy at the back. If you're slicing, pretty thin at the front. But also it's got a bit more of a workhorse grind to it. Like it's not super, super thin. Thin enough that it's not going to wedge on stuff, but sturdy enough that you don't have to baby it quite as much as you do some super, super thin knives, right? I'm a big fan of this one. So what's that one go for? $419 for the 210 Gyuto. Blue number 2, stainless cladding. Awesome. All right. And how about this guy? Also from Sakai Kikumori. Now, we've had some knives from Yoshikazu Tanaka before. He's an awesome blacksmith. He forges with pine charcoal, so he forges at a bit of a lower temperature, as I understand. He's able to keep more carbon in, and through his forging process and a little bit more retained carbon, a little better edge retention for the same steel than maybe what other people can get. And these are just beautiful. Like, they're really quite subtle. You got a nice contrasting Kasumi finish. The cladding is kind of misty. The core steel is shinier. But the whole thing is like kind of a soft, like a satin finish, right? The clip tip is nice. It's a little taller than some Gyuto. They don't really round the spine and choil, but they break the hard right angle. So nice and comfortable in the hand. I believe that's a rosewood handle. It's good and dark. Is that rosewood?
No, it's an oak.
Oak? Oh, it's like really dark oak, eh?
Yeah. Well, it's painted oak.
Ah, that makes sense. I just love that this is kind of subtle. Like, I love flashy Damascus too, don't get me wrong. But this one, the attention to detail, the kind of subtlety of it, it's just a beautiful knife. It feels great in the hand. Super thin. Really, really thin behind the edge. Who sharpens these ones now, Otto?
What's that?
Who sharpens these ones? Do you know?
No, I don't.
Yeah. Well, whoever they are, they did a great job. There's lots of core steel exposed on the edge. Just beautiful. Now,
M from Vancouver, Canada says I bought that one on Monday. Well, congrats. That's a happy new knife.
Yeah. I think sometimes those ones, they don't get as much hype as some of the really super shiny things, but just beautifully done. Really, really, really nice. Now, there's some knives at garage sale that are so good, you should buy 2 of them. And these are made by Tojiro. It's their Wanhute Chinese cleaver, Chukabocho, right? And they're not too big. Like, they're 175 millimeters, and they're a little chunkier. The steel's not quite as hard, so like definitely a knife that you could use for breaking down chicken and going through joints. Maybe not chopping up big bones, right? But good, versatile, small Chukabocho. So like, if someone isn't sure if they like cleavers yet, like, buy one of these. They're $73. Give it a try. And in fact, buy 2 of them, which is what I'm planning on doing, so that I can do the 2-handed chopping. Like, if you want to make the meatballs that have the right boinginess, as Mike would say,
that's a technical term, man.
You can't buy like pre-ground meat. And to chop it properly and efficiently, you need 2 of these, and you just like go to town, whackety whack.
Have you watched Flavorful Origins?
I have.
And that episode where they make the meatballs and they start with a big piece of meat and they just stand there and pound it for hours?
Pound and pound. In fact, like with that one, I think they're not using the sharp edge. They'd be using the back of the cleaver.
Yeah. Well, they're not even chopping it. They're hammering it.
Yeah,
That's
they're
a really
hammering it
great
into a paste. And then they can pull out all the like tendons and gristle to get like a really smooth paste. But it brings out like a lot of, I'm not sure on the science of it, but it kind of changes the chemical textural something rather, and it makes it boingy when you put it into a meatball. Like the the texture of the meatball kind of yields in a different way. Oh. So yeah, buy 2 of these, chop up all the things. They're $73. Like, buy them for everyone you know. Why not?
I don't believe it, Colin. I think you're just treating them like action figures. You're going to use one and then have one new in the box.
Yeah, save one for later.
You've got a little curio case filled with unused Chinese clavers. You're a huge nerd, Colin. I love it.
I am a huge nerd. There's no denying it. I'm not even going to try.
Well, thanks for joining us, Colin. You got anything else killer that people should see in Calgary? If
Yeah, I got one more to show you.
All right, let's check it out.
I can't restrain my enthusiasm, and so I'm sorry, not sorry. These guys. I think this is one of the best deals at garage sale. This
agree.
is for Gihei Shindo, Santoku, carbon steel. It's $136. Like, if you want to try a carbon steel knife and you're not sure, like all this stuff Mike has been saying about, well, it's going to become really personal. It's not going to look the way it was when it's brand new, or like people who are worried that they won't be able to take care of it. And it's really not that hard. You just, you cut something acidic, wipe it off right away. You're going to put the knife down, wipe it off. When you're done using it, wash it, and it's fine. But like, these are such a good deal for a hand forged knife. They're really rustic, and I love that rustic kurouchi black hammered finish. That'll wear away as you use it, and you can see the way that you have held it. Like, the size of your thumb will leave kind of a print where you got your pinch grip going. Now, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. It's got a plastic collar. Like, the handle is fine. Plastic collars are durable. They're a very practical choice, and it keeps the cost down. But you know what? If you buy this knife and you love it because it's super awesome and it cuts great, like, get yourself an Instagram handle that costs more than a knife and put it on. Like, you can swap these handles out if you love the knife.
Yeah, or bring it to us and we'll swap it out for you.
Yeah, even better.
We have a box of handles that are a little bit nicer than these, or
Sure,
a lot
yeah.
nicer in cases.
Totally upgrade the handle later. But yeah, if someone's looking to try it, if they want like a really great value knife, Santoku, awesome for everyday stuff. It's not the knife you're going to use to carve a roast beef, right? It's kind of a bit small for those kind of jobs. But slicing, dicing, and mincing meat, fish, and veggies, like, this little guy does all of your everyday prep needs, and it's only $132.
I second your ideas here, man.
Yeah. So, as Crazy Nate would say, Santoku, it means 3 virtues, and we got 3 virtues for you. Deals, deals, and deals. And
Thanks for joining us, man.
That
was such a fun video he did.
Yeah. We should show it once, like, sometime during this show.
Yeah, we should watch it now. Let's see it. Colin, thanks for joining us, man. Have a good rest of your day.
Always a pleasure. Take it easy, guys.
Thanks. Is there the
Come on down to Crazy Nate's Knife Warehouse for the famous Knifewear garage sale this May 16th to the 23rd. Hey kid, want to buy a knife? We got one-of-a-kind knives. We got knives from new makers. Come on down to Crazy Nate's Knife Warehouse. Every knife your mother could ever want. You know me, I love in-flight peanuts, but you don't need to travel across the world for a Japanese knife. We bring them to you. We got Wa handle, Yo handle, Kurochi, Tsuchime. Look at all these knives. I got too many knives. You gotta take some of these knives off my hand. We even got Maguro bochos, and we're slashing prices. Oh, you like psychedelic knife handles, man? Far out, dude. Look at those trippy colors. We got all kinds of these things, man. I got so many knives, they're falling out of my pockets. Look at all these knives. Oh my God. They say Santoku means 3 virtues. Well, we got 3 virtues for you. Deals, deals, and more deals. Hey kid, you want to buy a Hanora River Jump? Check this out. I got the good stuff straight from Japan. Look at this. Real authentic Hanora River Jump. No fakes, no nothing. At Knifewear, we got Canada's biggest selection of Japanese knives. But just for you, I went straight to Japan and I got even more! Remember, that's the Knifewear Garage Sale, May 16th to 23rd. Shop in store in Calgary, Edmonton, Ottawa, or Vancouver, or hop on the World Wide Web and surf your way down to https://knifewear, whoa, big wave, .com/GARAGESALE.
Let's go. Oh, we're back.
That, I think, is the pinnacle of Nathan's work to date.
Yeah.
To date, that's like, I mean,
There's a lot of good those clips though. I really love. You know what I really loved?
what's that?
The Gito thing.
Which part?
The Gito. No.
Oh, yeah, the thing that Tim did. That was
yeah,
hilarious.
That
Yeah.
was good too.
Ah, okay. So we like to have fun at work. Shoot us, whatever.
So, Wisey Boys was asking, wanting to get a nice bunker sentoku as a start to our Japanese knife collection. Congrats. And was looking specifically for something that will really hold its edge. So we got some options for you here, Wisey Boys.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're starting your collection, maybe you're just ready to dive in on carbon steel, maybe not. We do have this beautiful knife here. It's white number 1. White, so there's yellow steel, blue steel, white steel, and the number 1 ones typically have a bit of a higher carbon content. Carbon makes steel hard. Hard allows a knife to stay sharper for a longer time. However, not necessarily, but most frequently, there's a correlation between hardness and brittleness. So any knife that we're looking at here that's going to hold an edge for a long time is going to be something that you'll want to really be careful with. They're a little bit more delicate. Now, I'm not sure if you're saying you're starting your Japanese knife collection and wanting to find something that really will hold its edge. Now, if we're saying it's going to really hold its edge in comparison to that box of Costco knives, or maybe even something like a good European knife like a Henkel or a Victorinox, the difference that you'll find between Japanese knives is very slight compared to the difference you're going to experience going from a German knife to a Japanese knife. That one step itself is going to be very, very big in terms of finding a knife that will hold its edge. That's what we love about Japanese knives. Harder steel, they stay sharper for a longer time. That being said, we've got a few here that can hold their edge on the exceptionally long range here. I like Aogami Super personally. It's a carbon steel with a bit of chrome, doesn't rust as easily. I really like it. It's really good at holding its edge for quite some time. So we've got this fella here. This is Aogami Super. We've noted it here with the AS, clad with stainless steel. So you may or may not know, getting into this, Japanese knives, by and large, they are made by putting 3 layers of steel together. They've got soft steel on the outside, hard steel in the middle. The stuff that's in the middle gets exposed when they grind the blade down. That's the core steel. That's the one that counts the most. The soft layer on the outside, interestingly enough, is the reason why they can put textures and such on the blade and give it that cool effect. Also, what else can we say about this knife? Stainless steel, real sleek, good looking, $185. If you're getting out on a start, depends on how much you want to spend. Some people like to just buy the best thing to start with and never have to buy it a second time. The old buy once, cry once theory is real. But if you want to get into that territory, we're looking at some stuff here from, we've got Kato, Kurosaki. These two guys are both from the same region in Takefu. They're making really, really beautiful knives. And I believe this is SG2. So SG2 is a type of steel referred to as powdered stainless steel. It's very good at being stainless. It's very good at being sharp. It's also fairly difficult to work with. And as a raw material, it's just as a cost of the raw material is quite expensive. So frankly, these guys have done a lot of really beautiful work to make these knives exceptionally beautiful with this, like we've got this burled maple handle. This is a nicer sort of beefier kind of handle. If you've got bigger hands, it feels really nice. Pardon me. Nice chrysanthemum pins. This Kurosaki Fujin R2 Senko. Senko is the name of the series. When I say Kurosaki, that's the name of the person who's made the knife. Senko is the name of the line of the knives, right? So there's a a knife with the same handle and the same finish, and it comes in multiple shapes and sizes. So that Senko denotes that lineup of knives, the finish. So this is a beautiful knife as well. The handle's acrylic, which makes it really tough and bomb-proof. However, we all need to say the right things. When you're buying a first Japanese knife, don't cut through hard foods. Don't put in a dishwasher. Use an end grain wood cutting board, stuff like that. But when you do get a knife from us, you'll see we've put in this information. Here's a care letter. So here's information about Kurosaki-san, the man who's made the knife. And then on the back, we've got this here. This tells you about how to take care of your knife. Please do sit down and take some time to read this. Should you have any questions, you're always free to contact us. We're happy to get you set up, tell you what you need to know. Pretty much what I tell people is if you wouldn't chew it with your own teeth, don't try and cut it with a Japanese knife. That's where you're going to end up in that sort of dangerous chipping your edge territory. Also, when you're cutting, if you hear the edge twisting and scraping, that's actually the knife crying out loud in pain. So when you invest $700 into a knife, obviously you want it to last for a long time.
Before you go into the ZDP, that
sure. Yeah.
I wanted to kind of mention this guy. Like it's someone like we.
Oh, I think I know what you got there.
Been a while, but we have not really, put the spotlight on. And you've met him.
I met him. He's a wonderful man, and he is interesting. He's had a company. He's got a couple of staff. They've got a contract with a big retailer, I believe, in Korea, that they just get steel blades that are already hardened and processed, and his job is to grind them down, sharpen them, put handles on, and this one big customer sells them all. So he's got a great business, but he was getting a little bored, and he wants to try and put his name out there. So this is a Kobayashi, and he's buying these really beautiful blades and then doing what he does best, which is grind them down and sharpen them. And the edge on these things it's like zippy. It's really nice. They really bite it. Like when you think about the skin of a tomato, your knife will bounce off of it sometimes, even if it's sharp. These things, it's like shark's tooth.
And it's really thin. So
yeah.
Thickness of the knife really is important, right? Especially the behind the edge and that like really nice thin taper. Even if you got really like if the knife, the edge needs a bit of honing and sharpening.
Wow,
a knife
that's
like
super
these
thin.
guys here will feel.
A dull razor is sharper than a sharp axe.
Absolutely, right? That's exactly right. So thickness, like the R2, this is also R2 stainless steel, so it will keep its edge like really good because the steel is really good. But because how he sharpens them, like super thin, very nice subtle taper, you will feel really sharp.
Jesus, that's amazing.
Even if it's like dull-ish.
Honestly, I think that's a great suggestion, Downtown. I think that's a really wicked place to start. This one, if you want to flop the camera over here, this is Damascus steel, powdered stainless, that SG2 steel, which we all really like. So it's not reactive, but it's also incredibly good at holding its edge. This is a beautiful octagonal shaped handle, right? It's very light, and something that you might find is once you get used to using a light knife, you'll ever wondered why you wanted a heavy one. Because when you got a sharp knife, you don't need a heavy knife, right? And this is a Kobayashi SG2 Damascus. It's $462. That's a fantastic place to start your knife collection, my friend.
Yeah, but nonetheless, the steel type, last steel type that we basically have to talk about is this Yoshida ZDP. If you are looking for a knife with basically the maximum, I guess, the edge retention, you want to go for some steel like ZDP 189.
Yeah, this material called ZDP 189 has a very high concentration of carbon. It's I don't know how you would work with it. Yoshida has a way of working with it that it's a very difficult steel to work with. It's a very unique steel. Very few steel have the same content of carbon. They're somewhat difficult to sharpen. That might not be a concern because you have us to do it for you. Depending on where you're located, you can always mail things to us if that's an option for you. It's the price of the sharpening. Sorry, not sharpening. What is it called when things? Shipping. Price of the shipping.
First time
you're sharpening is free. However, a ZDP 189, you might need to get it sharpened every few years. Whereas a typical Japanese knife customer gets a knife sharpened every year to a year and a half. Now you need to keep in mind your definition of what a sharp knife is changes. What you used to think was sharp is not sharp at all. So these are real game changers. So let us know, Wisey, if you have any more questions. Totally happy to answer. And if you're going through it and you're trying to figure it out and you're just on your computer, hit us up at hello@knifewear.com. We're more than happy to help out.
Sweet. Hodorific was asking, any other knives like the Tetsujin Kiritsuke with Kusumi finish on the entire blade, preferably
This good call.
We back?
Hey.
Is this the,
Oh.
is this the white?
Yeah, you have gray hair, Nato.
Yeah, I saw that the other day now. You get a gray hair. I got gray hairs, but they hide better because my hair's blonde.
I've got gray hairs.
Okay. Are we back?
Like all of them.
All over your chin. Okay, we're back. Thanks, folks.
Thanks
You know,
for the
you
patience.
reset the router and you do the thing, but sometimes that lag demon just comes and gets you.
Well, the only thing you missed, folks, is Naoto found a gray hair.
And he opened
However,
a beer.
Hodorific, while you were gone, we took the moment to
Cool.
find some beautiful knives with entire Kasumi finish. Naoto,
Yeah.
I don't know which one's better. I really like these
Asagiri. If you like the like Kiritsuke tip like these guys, Asagiri is great. Forged by Yoshikazu Tanaka-san, he's probably one of the best blacksmiths in that. The best blacksmith when it comes to the double bevel. One of definitely
double bevel carbon steel is his specialty,
steel.
right?
Yeah. So yeah, this one white number 2 carbon steel stainless cladding. Lots of knife companies in Sakai started to convince Tanaka-san to use the stainless cladding knives. He was never really convinced.
Oh yeah. So he's adapted.
Yeah, he was like, no, it's just all carbon steel's best. But he adapted and he started making the stainless cladding one like these. It's really beautiful finish. It may be a little bit hard to see, but if you look at this, angle, you can see the beautiful Kasumi.
It is gorgeous, hey?
Yeah. If you don't mind the regular, I guess
non-Kiritsuke
shape, Munetoshi-san does actually a great job. It's all Kasumi finish. His knives often comes in the Kuroichi, the block finish. but I thought that his polish finish is really nice. So I got the really nice and mild bevel. I love this beveling. I mean, beveling means sharpening. It's got really nice taper here.
Yeah, it's really a smooth taper. He's neat. We watched him making rice harvesting sickles by hand, and he has got a lot of practice at what he does. He's not a young guy, and it's amazing watching these folks work. They move so quickly and in such a routine thing, and there's always something interesting. And the one thing that I thought was super interesting at his shop, there was a pair of glasses at every station, right? He had so many pairs of glasses that he'd finish hammering, he'd take it off, put his glasses down, move to the next station, pick up that station's pair of glasses, and not safety glasses, like glasses. Yeah. Prescription glasses.
Yeah.
He had like 5 pair in his workshop. Yeah. I think it was funny. There you go. Personality.
Another one I like, it's not really dedicated, but this got really nice kusumi on them. Beautiful kusumi finish. Homura Kogetsu, the means crescent moon, forged by Doi-san, Itsuo Doi-san. He was the single bevel knife maker. Like single bevel means it's a little bit thicker, Yanagiba, Deba type of situation. So he was really used to making very thick blades. And when he started making this Homura line, it was much thicker.
They're so nice now.
Now it's like so nice. Yamatsuka-san, who sharpens this knife, even was saying this knife's got so thin. Not this particular line, but the same kind of line of the Homura series with the crisp shinogi line. He was saying it's so hard since the now Doi-san forges is so thin, and So this is really, really well done. So that's a good selection of the beautifully kasumi finished knives here. What do you have, Mike?
Well, I have something I want to show to people.
Oh,
if
something
you're a fan of cooking, we decided to make a notebook for chefs.
I don't think anybody hanging out today likes to cook.
Probably not. They probably just like knives. That's fine too. We accept you for who you are. We made this thing called the Cook's Notebook. It's fun. It's even lined with the same kind of pattern that's on the classic chef pants. But we looked at getting a notebook. It just said Knifewear on it. We weren't thinking that was going to really do it. Like, it's just a notebook. But we wanted to actually change some of the stuff that's on the inside. So some of the features of this book I like. It's got a blank table of contents. So as you go and fill out this 220-something page book with recipes, you can go back to the front. You can build out your own table of contents, so it's easier to find the recipe you're looking for. Now, on the bulk of the pages, they're just blank, right? Lined pages. But we've got little checkbox if it's a prep list. There's a little circle there if you want to use it for a plating diagram. And again, we've got numbered pages, so you can make reference to things in your table of contents. In every self-respecting cookbook, cook notebook always has the old volume conversions. This one, we've added a whole bunch more. There's like 10 or 12 pages. So we've got brine formulas. We've got baking dough ratios. We've got a section on taste, aroma, textures. We even invented something. It's very scientific. We invented a title called the Qualitative Assessment of Texture Spectrums, because there's kind of like, soft and hard and smooth and crunchy. And so we've taken a crack at this. Now we recognize that we've probably made some errors and we probably could have done it better. So we even have a little thing in here. If you find an error or you think it could be better, we want you to actually email us. And when we go and do a reprint, if we take all comments, which we reserve the right to not do that, by the way, if we take in your comments, we'll send you a book, because I'm sure we screwed up. It was a lot of work, and it was such a rabbit hole to go down and try and decide how to express in a short form how we talk about texture. And the idea behind it all is that sometimes you're making a menu, sometimes you're trying to just write a description for something. Maybe you're tasting a dish and asking, like, what does this thing need? it's a kind of a reference where you can go through and maybe it's just going to spark something in your creativity and guide you to make a better dish. So if it does that, then I'm happy. But otherwise, yeah, these notebooks are $23. They're available in the store and online. They make great gifts for your line cooks who are good that have stuck around. I hear hiring cooks is a difficult task these days.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, we got a few more questions. You got time for some more questions, and then we'll have Francis on from Vancouver.
Francis. All right, we'll take Francis.
We lost the questions when we had to reset there, but I've gone back and taken a look at them on YouTube here. So Daddy Knows Best is asking, do you have any petty 130 or 140 with a stormy, white, or cloudy look? I grabbed some that were kind of in that range. I don't know if Naoto might have some better ideas, but I snagged a few to get us started there.
Stormy, foggy, cloudy. These all look like that. We do have a big, powerful light here, so you're going to get a bit more reflection. But now to angle it so you can get a good look.
Yeah, this
that's
is really
a Musashi.
beautiful Musashi. This is one of the prototype. This is his new line called Kaijin. We are going to launch them at the end of June, hopefully. But this one is great. It's got a really nice foggy finish. It's got the really nice like ash-ish kind of look to it. This particular knife we are selling at this garage sale is as a prototype, and the size is 125 millimeters. But his actually regular line will be 135 millimeters. All his this series and the other series is going to be 135 millimeters. So it's going to be really good if you're specifically looking for that size. But this size 125 millimeters, this does still fantastic job.
I want to point out something I think that's really smart with his petty knives. Often when we're holding our Japanese kitchen knife, we're holding part of the blade, not just the handle. You can see what he's done here is opposed to having the heel of the knife come straight down as so many of the other ones do. He draws the heel out a little further forward. So when you're holding it in the balance point here, you're actually not covering up a bunch of the blade. Now, if you've got a big chef's knife, that's not that big of a deal. The percentage of blade you're covering is minimal, but when it's 125 millimeters, if you're covering it up, that's a big deal. And I just think that's so damn considerate of the man. Like, it's just a really effective thing to do.
This here, Sakai Kikumori Asagiri with the whole Kusumi finish knife. This one is listed as 150 millimeters, but because it's a Sakai measurement, which they actually measure from so-called this machi, actually hidden right now, to the tip of knife. So the edge from the heel to the tip is actually around 140 millimeters.
Can we stop looking at these knives? The more we look at them, the more I want to buy them. Like, they are so smooth. They're so even. They have such a beautiful taper on them. He is so cool. I got to watch him hammer. You went and had a meeting. I stood and watched this guy hammer knives for about an hour. I filmed most of it. He is a just badass knife maker. Yeah. He's in this dark shed. He's standing in a hole in the ground. Yep. He's not even wearing gloves. He's putting the core steel onto red hot, 700-degree bars of steel, and he's dropping it on with his bare hands.
His hands are so dark, dirty.
Yeah, well, he's in his 70s, right? He's been working in the same hole for 50 years. It's the same hole his father worked in. And when it was time to get out, he just sprung out of it like a spry little kangaroo. I mean, he was such an impressive guy. Yeah. And when we were talking to him, he's not particularly creative in a way. Like, he's not driving to change things. His wholesalers bring him steel, ask him to make knives. He turns out knives, and he does it in the same way. Like Naoto had mentioned earlier, he even was pushing back for a while on having blades that had stainless steel on the outside. He's just, I just do the one thing. And I can't judge the guy. He's been doing something the same way for 50 years. I haven't done anything for 50 years.
But yeah, he because he's done it for 50 years, he can churn. he can make a knife out of the whatever steel that anyone can bring. Right?
Yeah.
He had. I don't know who, but there's like guy brought some wrought iron or the tamagane maybe.
Yeah, he had some tamagane
Yeah,
there.
so that's kind of cool. So
Yeah,
he's like, sure.
He's like master level of craftsmanship. So
It's very Sakai craftsman.
you have a couple more there though.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I went on a tangent there, but I was pretty excited by that.
Well,
Knife.
while you're talking about these, we had kind of a question complimentary to what we're talking about. Just wondering if you could quickly talk about the differences between Nishiji and Kasumi finish, since you got one of them in your hand there.
Yeah. So Nishiji and Kasumi can actually reside on the same knife. Kasumi basically means this kasumu, coming from this verb called kasumu, which is really to fog up or the mist.
Right.
Misty, like if you wake up in the morning, you see a little bit of a misty, in the morning. That's where the kasumi comes from, the name. And so usually when the knife is made with the two different types of steel, hard and soft, the way that they fogs up the soft steel, that is a little kasumi finish.
Now, why do they do that? Just to give it an even looking appearance?
Few different ways. So, well, I mean, like, yes, to get a really nice look. Also, some people do. It's mostly the look. Sometimes they do it to kind of, I don't want to say hide, but as you go use the different stones and you make some scratches, this will kind of fogs it up and kind of.
So a little bit.
Yeah.
It covers up stuff that might be a little uneven.
Exactly. Exactly. It's like foundation. Well, I don't know. I don't put foundation on my faces, but that's kind of thing, right? If there's like a little bit of unevenness, that will kind of evens it out.
Great. Okay, so tell us about Nishiji, because I see Nishiji there.
So Nishiji is this finish here.
The
Nashi,
texture.
Yeah, texture. Nashi means pear, Japanese pear. And G is the base, the pear base, right? So this is how the knife is kind of when right before, as person forges it, this is going to show, especially for the knives that's carbon steels. As you like this, the frying pan.
Yeah, so what you're saying is when they hammer out the steel, there's the scale that's left on the outside of the knife. When they remove the scale, the Nishiji finishes what's just naturally left behind, right?
Like this.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Look at that. That's so
this
cool.
is like Nishiji. And those people who just leaves the finish, that's just basically Nishiji. They polish it up with the some blast or something, right? But so there's Kurochi Nishiji, basically it's done like this.
There you go.
So this is really Nishiji.
I guess this is what are we calling this? Knife 101? This a little bit of education along with everything.
Some of the steels, like these stainless steels, are a little bit harder to get in the Nishiji because they it doesn't oxidize and they don't flake out. So they do some different, slightly different way to get that finish. But that's how it usually gets here.
Cool.
So this one's also Kasumi and Nishiji. It's got a really nice contrast between the core steel and steel here. Blue carbon number 2, petty 150 mil size. This one here, for those who like to get the do this small chopping jobs, this comes super handy, I think, because it's at enough height to it, right?
And what's the name of that one again?
This one, Sakai Kikumori.
We can't hear you now.
Right.
Sakai Kikumori, Aogami Nishiji.
Okay, let's go over that last one. And then I had a couple of questions to bang off here, and
Last
then we're
one
going to have
is-
Francis on.
This is a Nigara SG2. You said kind of cloudy. I don't know how dark your clouds are, but this would be a darker cloud. It's got that same Kasumi finish down towards the edge. SG2 powder stainless steel. This is super nice at holding its edge. Pretty thin. Acrylic handle. Chrysanthemums. I think that's a really nice knife. Attractive.
Awesome. We had somebody asking where they could buy Naoto's shirt. I'm going to pop a link in the comments there because that's a super cool knife or super cool shirt. And then Lucas B was asking if we send orders to the EU. We do. Asking about cost of shipping to Denmark. I looked up a couple of orders we shipped in the past. It's around 300 Danish krone, but you can get a quote at checkout. That does not include duties. So please be aware you will be charged some taxes when your order shows up. Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Well, let's introduce our third and final guest for the night. Oh, he's getting up and walking away. All right. He doesn't want to be
Francis,
on.
don't go away. Francis.
This is Fran the man, the Frandalorian.
Hello. Hey guys, how you guys doing?
Hi, Fran. How are you?
You guys miss me? It's been a while since I've been on stream here. Woo.
Yeah, I know. Look at you.
It's good to see you guys. Yeah. What are we doing today here?
Well, we were gonna just check in and say hi, see how your garage sale's been, man. How's things been? What are your favorites? How was the sale? Was it busy?
Yeah, it's been pretty bumping. Of course, you can see our little shop here with all our staff here. You got Jordan right down there. We got some people coming in as they come in. So you guys get to see a little bit of the kind of the store experience while we're here. Yeah, it's kind of nice. I got a good pile of knives behind me. So I think you guys will be pretty.
Well, you're a huge knife nerd too.
I'm a pretty huge knife nerd. I'm
pretty huge nerd. And you're kind of like the sharpening guru of Vancouver these days too, right?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm all right.
Okay, let's do a couple of your favorites. What are the things that are really turning your crank there in terms of knives from the garage sale this year?
Okay. Well, I have to show this one first because it's a must. This is a Vancouver exclusive, and I want to show you guys this really quick here. We call this the Teriyasu. No, it's called the TF Danka. This guy is originally was $699.99. I don't know if you can see that, but it was 69% off for $420.69 here. Look at that guy right here. Got the nice pang all the way through, nice detail in the back there. Woo! And then we got a nice little grip here. It's really nice. As you don't know if you can see that, but it's also got like a little bit of a patina going. It's a little used, so if you guys are gonna get this, it is a used model here. Okay, don't worry about that. So if you guys are coming to Vancouver, make sure you guys pick one of these guys up because this is. I don't think Mike or
Sorry, what was the price again? $669.
$669, 69% off for this garage sale. And it's,
so does that make it $420? Is that what it was?
Yeah, $420.69.
Oh,
great deal, guys. Great deal. You guys got to come into Vancouver shop to look at this.
We have to fold it and send it to someone.
we don't have a box big enough. We'll fold your knife in half for you if we ship it to you. No problem. How do you find the edge retention on that knife?
It's all right. It's not bad. We used it a couple days ago and then it lost its edge. But you know what? If you bring it to me, I'll sharpen it for you guys. Don't worry.
Okay, thanks. Just let me know. I'm interested. Just as long as you have a saya for it, then I'd get it.
Saya.
Do you have a saya?
I do have a saya. I don't even have a sleeve for it. But we can make that happen.
When I'm in Vancouver.
Oh yeah.
Pack them in my suitcase.
Yeah.
Oh, or can I just have it in a carry-on?
Maybe you can.
You can definitely have it on the
Take that in your carry-on.
It's a foldable knife.
Are you allowed a folding knife that big on an airplane?
I don't know, man. It's definitely really huge, though.
Oh my God.
Definitely, you guys got to check that out if you're here for sure. We got a lot of questions about that, but we don't have any biters yet.
What else do you get?
Well, there's definitely a few of my favorites in the garage sale. And I'll show you guys a couple here. My hands down is definitely this guy here. We only have one of these guys left in the Vancouver store. The Sakai Kikamori. This guy here.
Stop showing me this goddamn knife.
I feel like you guys been
weak.
doing this. This guy is definitely my favorite, yo. Like it's just It's just
Oh,
a
me too.
beautiful done. It's a beautiful grind. It's such a nice taper. It's super flat. There's not much that really screams out like a super extravagant, but it's the subtle details that I really appreciate that from Kikomori that they do this with this knife here. It's just a nice kind of finish to it. I find these finish are probably the hardest to kind of keep clean because you see all the kind of scratches and stuff like that. But when you take care of it, it's a beautiful knife. One of my few favorite things about this guy is the spine work. Honestly, the spine work is definitely a nice touch, right? Like a lot of makers would just kind of keep it raw or just kind of like round it off and make it mirror polish, or just kind of keep it subtle. But definitely my favorite is it has that kind of nice flat kind of top to it, and it's kind of like shaven just a little bit on the sides there, which is definitely one of my favorite features about this knife here, and an absolute laser of a knife here. But yeah, this is definitely my top pick. We only have one of these guys left in Vancouver, but you know what? I'm bet you he's gonna go to a good home for sure.
They're so nice.
Yeah,
I know Armitage is weak for these too.
yeah. I think all the Vancouver staff are weak for those guys, man. Just like when they hit our shelves or when we got into the store, man, they just like screened up like you need to have me for sure.
Hey, friend, have you seen this yet?
Oh yeah, I've seen that before. Yeah, you know what? I got one right here for sure, right there.
Yeah, well, we've recently just told everyone about it, but I was wondering, what do you think about it?
These
You're a
guys
cook.
are awesome. Yeah, I'm a cook. I've been looking at notebooks for a very long time. Like I got at home maybe about a good like half a dozen notebooks of different recipes, and this was definitely one of my favorites. It's got a nice kind of feel to it. That texture on the front is definitely nice, but it picks up a little bit of fingerprints, but you know what, that tells you used it, and you're true chef to it. So nice for sure. One of my favorite things is the ruler in the back. For all those bakers that just don't have a ruler and you just need to measure out how big your squares need to be, that's definitely a nice little touch. You can just kind of whip it out really easily, and that beautiful red spine. I'm a big fan of red. I don't know if you guys know, but like all of my coffee cups, are all red. But yeah, this is definitely a nice little book. I've been telling a lot of people.
They're pretty accurate. They are accurate.
Pretty accurate, yeah, definitely.
That would be super disappointing if it wasn't accurate.
Off
That would
by
be
just like a
so
millimeter.
disappointing. That's a very good point. I hadn't even considered checking that.
That would be very embarrassing.
It looks like inches an inch, but
Inches and inches.
Hey, Fran, we got someone from Vancouver. M from Vancouver said, "Hey, that's the knife I bought again, but this time with the guy who sold it to me." And said, "Thank you so much, Knifewear Vancouver."
No problem. We got lovely staff, and everybody likes to chip in and help all the customers looking for the first knife, or their seventh knife or eighth knife. Who knows? I definitely have too many in my collection, but there's never enough. Never enough for sure. But yeah.
Cool. Well, you got any favorites for this garage sale?
Other favorites, of course, me being like a fan favorite of red, my one of my few favorites that I've seen here.
what's that?
This guy here. It's the Sugifusa Nami.
Oh, the
Oh, this guy there.
Oh,
I
the
don't know if I can-
Damascus Sugifusa, the VG10 steel. Yeah, your camera's not focusing very well there.
AS10.
Ah,
Here.
Oh, AUS10.
Yeah.
AUS
I
10,
got the
yeah.
one here.
Yeah.
Look
These
at
are
this.
great. It's beautiful, isn't it?
Hard to actually show because it's so.
It's so
Shiny.
shiny. Yeah. Definitely in my shop, it's super
Okay.
hard to kind of see all the glare.
It's
and
that
stuff
like
that.
real whirlpool kind of Damascus look. That's such
Yeah.
a beautiful blade.
That one's absolutely beautiful. Like I know a lot of like kind of first timer cooks and people who are getting into Japanese knives and whatnot. This is a great still to kind of get into. Like it's not as chippy as most people think. Like it's very robust, and I find like anybody who's starting off, you want something beautiful. It's kind of like that Miyabi line, the Miyabi birch line, but like about half about the same kind of deal. Like it's kind of nice steel to work with. You get something very beautiful with Damascus, and of course it's red. Like you can't argue with red. Can't argue with red.
Okay, I'm sold.
Yeah, that one's definitely one of my few favorites in the garage sale. We've been selling them quite a bit around here, so that's definitely a big favorite. Another kind of big favorite around here is this guy here. We had like maybe a kind of like a small bunch of them, and that's the Tsugifusa with the walnut handle.
Oh yeah, that one.
Yeah. This one's really nice. I have
nice.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? I like the one piece construction of the handle. There's no rivets or anything like that, so you don't feel really that kind of ridge sometimes with the rivets. So it's
Yeah,
like a
we
nice
went
clean
to see
look.
how it's made, eh? How it's installed.
Oh, did you? Eh?
Yeah. There's a
no,
secret
good.
room.
They made us turn off the camera before we got there.
Yeah.
But you know, Francis, do you know that I'm pretty sure, and correct me, I'm pretty sure Naoto, that was the knife you bought from Knifewear before you started working at Knifewear like over a decade ago.
Absolutely true.
Okay, what's it like now? You don't have a ton of knives.
Has
But
been
you
working.
use every one of your knives. though.
This knife is like absolutely incredible. It's it's easy to take care of. It's got really nice thin edge as well as that toughness to it too. It's still like I started using this size because it was like great size. I mean now I'm a little bit more like
You've graduated.
graduated from the size, but that's still my wife's go-to. Like,
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's fantastic. Sometimes I find with a lot of people, they it's kind of similar to the Tsugifusa Hochikobo that we have. When you have smaller hands, these kind of fatter backhand handles kind of feel a little more comfortable. It kind of feels like there's something actually you're grabbing in the back there, and you can be a little bit looser in the front end. So it's actually quite nice to use. And a lot of people find them comfortable, surprisingly. And I noticed that over the years I've been working here, it's quite unique to see everyone's kind of different hand sizes and whatnot.
Yeah, so it's fantastic.
That's so
many-
observant of you, Francis. That's very interesting. I just love that you, as you've been working there, you're picking up on these small little details between different people and how they buy knives and how the size of their hand affects the shape of the handle. That's really amazing.
Yeah, like it's like how a lot of people like octagon handles, right? I think everybody loves octagon handles, but there's a small class of people who like the oval handles. And the oval handles are quite nice. Like if you have really large hands or you got stubby fingers, a lot of people like to grab onto something more substantial, right? It's like kind of lifting like a big dumbbell, right? The bigger the handle of the dumbbell, the easier is this lift, right? So a lot of people find it's a lot easier to kind of grip up with the oval handles.
Well, I know I've spoken to some people that have had arthritis, and they prefer to have a bigger handle because they don't have to physically close their hand as much, right? So having a larger diameter on the handle is more comfortable that way.
Oh, that's why absolutely. I don't know because I don't lift any dumbbells.
Here, this is your dumbbell. There, get your dumbbell.
I am one of those guys who actually I actually have rheumatoid arthritis, so
yeah.
I really appreciate like a comfortable handle. I always tell people if you're looking for a knife, it's the first one. The most important thing is just comfort, right? The better way you hold your handle or hold your knife, the easier it is to kind of work your vegetables every day, and it's really just the most important piece aside from steel, honestly.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. You just gotta decide whether or not you're interested in something that's carbon steel or stainless steel, and then you go with something that feels good in your hand.
Absolutely, yeah, super important. Always get the right knife that fits in your hand. It's gonna save you a lot of like kind of headaches for sure in the future. Yeah, a couple other ones if you guys want to keep on going with this guy. The garage sale, like I bought this last year in the garage sale. About I think in the middle of 2020 or 2021. Garasuki, guys. This guy.
Oh.
Yeah. This
You
is
bought it?
I bought it. I have
Wow.
it. It's my most favorite knife, honestly. It's like sitting on my magnet with like all the other red handles I have in my kitchen, and it's just kind of the one funky one that's just kind of out of shape, and everybody's kind of like, So why isn't that handle red? Just like it's like I don't want to deal with it. It's beautiful. It's my knife. This one's really nice. Like,
Okay, Fran, we got a question. I think you're the perfect person to answer this. Taylor Sobe conveniently asked a question a few minutes ago. Thoughts on single bevel versus double bevels for Hanasukis? Eyeing the Takayuki Hanasuki.
Perfect. Yeah, this is definitely my question here. I love Hanasuki. So I butcher a lot of chickens, and it's definitely one of my favorite things. If you guys want to take a class with me here in Vancouver, I also do that, all the classes here. But personally, if you can get a Hanasuki with a single bevel, especially this kind of Garasuki, this one's about 180 mil. This one's a little big, but I bought this particularly because I also wanted to fillet fish too. I actually wanted a Deba for first, but I got this one just because it has the ability to kind of cut fish too and fillet it. So I quite like this one quite a bit. If you want something like a double bevels are really nice. It just slices quite nicely through chicken. And honestly, it's a little bit easier to kind of get through a little bit more of the joints with the single bevel. But the double bevel, it can be a little more rougher on it. Like this knife is a little bit thicker. So I don't know if you guys can see that, but that guy, I kind of go through like spine of it pretty easily, especially when it's the raw spine. It's super easy to kind of just go right through if you want to kind of prep up the thigh with the spine, so you can deep fry it. It's quite nice, honestly. But yeah, it's mine at home at the moment, because when you butcher chickens and stuff like that, the carbon steel doesn't really matter, honestly. Or it's because it's like chicken's not like super acidic, or the kind of the juices. So you can just let it sit there, and it won't change patina or rust very fast, honestly. Like I've had mine sitting on the counter. I was actually using it the other day with my when I was cooking chicken. I actually made some Malaysian curry, and also some Malaysian curry, and I also butchered the chicken using this knife. And yeah, sometimes I was like stirring up the curry, and like sometimes I just leave this knife on the cutting board, and I come back to it, and it's still in great condition. Mine actually has like a beautiful like bluing color kind of going on. So like you shine the light, it's like a beautiful kind of color contrast that you kind of appreciate over time. What, you got a nice like a blonde buffalo horn? Oh, that's sick.
Yeah,
that's so nice.
This is Honesuki, right? The one that you have is Garasuki.
Yeah,
This
Garasuki.
one is 150 mil Honesuki. So
yeah, that one's quite nice.
Smaller. The handle is a little bit smaller too.
Yeah, that one probably fits in a lot of people's hand. That's kind of like what most people are kind of thinking in size of when it comes to Hanasukis.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's narrow this down here. We're trying to answer Taylor's question. Thoughts on single bevel versus double bevel? We've talked a bunch about single bevel. What do we think are the pros and cons of single bevel versus double bevel for the job of a Hanasuki?
I personally like the double the single bevel a bit more. The kind of the style that I've adapted to these guys is you can really get close to the bones and the flesh and meat by kind of laying the bevel right against the bone, so you can just kind of push against it and slide backwards, and it'll just kind of slowly slice that meat very easily. And that's one of the nicest things. Also, that hollow grind really works out well. It just kind of goes through the meat and flesh really easily without really any work to be done. So if for me, I love the single bevel over double bevel. But some people who like to use their Hanasuki for more than just fish and chicken, they would use it for like as a petty knife. Honestly, like I get a lot of people looking at the double bevel, say the Fujimoto Nishiji, and they love it. They can use it for like prepping little garlic and shallots and stuff like that, and it's not restricted just to chicken. So that's the biggest advantage to having a double bevel Hanasuki. It's just that versatility that you get with the knife, and you also get like a really nice little bit of knuckle room with the Hanasuki. So it's quite nice to use as a utility knife, honestly.
I agree. I think that's what you get the most out of a double bevel Hanasuki is you also get a really great
utility knife, all-purpose utility knife. And of course, they're designed for chickens. You can use them for other things. You can use them for some beef, some meat, some pork. But like you said, you can also use it as a deba. So when you're getting a single bevel Hanasuki or Garasuki, which is the same shape, Garasuki is just longer, you can also use it like Francis does for fish as well. So you can use, you have to learn a bit of a new technique if you don't use the Japanese style, but it's a great technique if you're cutting whole fish, and you can certainly make this work for that job too. So
It's definitely nice. Yeah, it just depends on your budget, you know, or your knife collection. I have a lot of knives. I have a lot of paring knives and stuff like that. So I don't particularly need a double bevel Hanasuki. So that's why I went for the Garasuki, a single bevel one. But yeah, if you're like a little more on the smaller apartment, you only have a couple knives, and you kind of fill in a little bit more kind of in that collection, get yourself a double bevel. I think you're going to be a lot happier with that.
Okay, we've got just a quick follow-up. Wondering which Hanasuki is double bevel of the ones you were showing there, and any other alternatives for doing the same job?
Yeah, we got a couple of double bevels Hanasukis around here. Hey, Jordan, grab me a double bevel, would you?
So just so you know, I'm just gonna interrupt really quick.
Yeah.
The true single bevel Hanasuki or the Garasuki are only from the Sakai Takayuki, so which is the single bevel like this with the concavity in the back. If you're looking at the Seki Kanetsugu Pro M series, these are big on the bevel on one side and a little bit more flat on the other. And this is also considered probably to be a single bevel Hanasuki. Most others are pretty much double beveled.
Yeah, pretty much. Like a lot of knife Hanasukis I've seen is primarily double bevel Hanasuki. So yeah, I quite like a lot of them. You can get one from Masakage, one from Fujiwara. Fujiwara makes a wicked double bevel ones. Like I like how crisp his grinds are on his. It's just nice for sure.
Tojiro DP is like a 70 kind of bevel, a 70-30 type of bevel here. We have this very interesting single bevel knife made by Suzuki-san in the Yamagata prefecture. You see the bevel right here, and the back is like completely flat.
as far as we're, the second half of the question, any other alternatives for the same job?
Right.
You could use this to definitely take apart poultry and fish. It's a bit shorter, and it's more of almost like a gyuto or a big 150 petty shape. But it does have that single bevel factor, so you're going to get that 15-degree overall angle on your edge. And like what Francis was talking about is you can ride the edge of that bevel or the face of the blade, and it gives you this almost like an offset to the edge. So you're going to leave just a millimeter or two of meat behind on the bone, but your edge is going to stay clear of the bone. Of course, Japanese knives, you're thinking a little bit more about trying to keep the edge of your knife from bashing into any bones.
But this is pretty nice and thick as well, so you don't really have to worry too much about chipping it.
Yeah, I actually have a couple of people take my Hanasuki class, and they surprisingly they actually like that knife quite a bit. It's very small, it's very nimble, and they don't have, like I said, they don't have to worry about chipping. So yeah, it's just a nice knife to work with altogether if you're thinking about something alternatively with that knife.
Right on. Well, Taylor is saying the White Buffalo Horn one, the single bevel, is calling their name. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And John was wondering if you know who makes that one.
This one here is forged by the Togashi-san in the it's Sakai Takayuki, but the forged by Togashi and the Togashi-san in this. I believe it's sharpened by Yamazaki-san.
Cool. Well,
We should put a little sticker on it, put it up on the desk.
Not all of those have the white.
Taylor Soby, S-O-B-Y. Well, Francis, you got anything else? One more knife or one more highlight of the sale this year?
One more highlight of the sale.
Super cool.
super cool. I definitely have
This is a test, Francis. Don't fail. What was the super cool thing that you got, according to Naoto?
See?
Yeah, we definitely have something nice to show in our shop here. This is definitely a very, very sick looking knife, honestly.
Yeah.
I think this is definitely the oohs and ahs of our knives in the Vancouver shop here. It's really nice. It's got that Hanyaki type of look to it. With a lot of Hanyakis I've seen before, they usually have a really like clean mirror polish to them, and mirror polish is pretty cool. But one thing I like about this Nakagawa is it's just that. Is it Nakagawa?
Is it a Nakagawa or the Aogami Super?
It should be the Aogami Super one.
Oh, that's the Ikeda. It's Shikazu Ikeda.
Oh, okay. Got the wrong one. Sorry about that. But like one of the favorite things is just the banding of the steel. Like you can actually see like almost like a natural Damascus on this knife.
Yeah, what's banding? What's banding, Francis?
Banding is like the grain of the steel. Like when you particularly it's kind of the skill of the sharpener to make it very clean, I think. And you can really kind of see the grain of it kind of flow through the steel, and it's a really nice touch on these knives for sure.
Let's see if we can actually do that. Show that one here. So basically what happens is that the knives here, or any steels, they do have a little bit of a grain, or it has a direction, right? So the knife has to be made in the one direction. When they're forging it and stretching the steel, those grain will stretch it out. And the way that they either heat treats or the sharpen them, they can make it to kind of show that little grain on the steel.
Yeah, it's super beautiful.
And also, this is made with the Aogami Super blue carbon steel, which who makes the Honyaki blade out of the super blue, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very talented, very, very talented blacksmith. The Yoshikazu Ikeda-san is someone that we are pretty into, but you know what? Before, like when I started it, there was actually a Honyaki blade made from the Yoshikazu Ikeda-san with Mount Fuji hamon. There's like mountain range hamon made by him, so it was beautiful. It was like lacquered with the Mount Fuji hamon with the crescent moon and the sun on the blade.
Aaron, just one more before I go here.
Oh. Yep, that's still.
It's yeah. This thing's amazingly cool. Really nice kind of tip to it. This guy has like kind of the same size as our Garasuki, honestly. Just a beautiful kind of look to it, right? And beautiful mirror polish. It's got that nice misty finish onto the edge there. Just a regularly nice, cool knife there. It's got a bit of a thicker kind of handle to it, which is quite nice about this guy. It's super chunky, and it's just a beautiful piece. It's very, very, very thick. You can see that spine there.
That is Genbu Deba.
Mm-hmm.
Blue number 2 carbon steel, forged by a Itsudoi, sharpened by a Yamatsuka-san. It's beautiful. Very weird shape though, hey?
Yeah, it's got a really funky shape. Like it's definitely that kind of tanto tip is really unique. I think he does we still have a Hamura. He likes to kind of flare the tip up on one of his knives.
They call it the Genbu tip, right? So this is their Genbu series.
Okay.
It's a really impressive looking knife.
Oh yeah, like when you see this in person, like you can see how clean that mirror finish is, right? When sometimes you get like a mirror finish, if it's not like completely fat, you can see a little bit the waviness, kind of like one of those circus mirrors that you see in a lot of those circus places.
Have we got any other questions, Nathan?
We got lots of questions. So Francis, thank you. You can't hear me. There we go. Yeah, we got lots of other questions. So thanks for tuning in and hanging out with us for a bit there, Francis.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a pleasure, guys.
Yeah, and sale runs in the Vancouver store till Monday, so you guys have lots of time to check out the stuff there.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, can come visit me. It's always a fun time around here. You can see Owen, but we'll always like to have you guys here and just have a bit of fun with us for sure.
Awesome. All right, thanks, buddy. Good to see you.
Very nice to see you, buddy.
Bye.
Thanks for saving me when I was in Vancouver.
Bye.
What about that?
All right.
Okay.
What do we
some
got?
questions.
Let's get him out of. Let's get after it.
We got some more questions. Let me find them. One sec, guys. Do you want to just give us a quick reminder of how long the sale goes and all that kind of stuff?
You know how long it goes for. It goes till Sunday.
On the Monday.
Monday. That's right.
Monday.
This year we're going all the way through Monday. Monday's a holiday, long weekend. So if you're not out May longing, quadding, and camping and drinking, come and see us. Buy some knives.
Yeah. Okay, so Richard Mack asked a while ago about ATS 34, specifically asking if you could tell us about Kisuke Manaka and the ATS 34 steel. Is the steel really that good, and why don't you see other Hamono using it? Is it exclusive to him?
The ATS-34 is not exclusive to Kisuke Manaka-san. It is widely available from the Hitachi steel, and it is popular actually steel among the custom knife makers. By like those people who makes the hunting knives and outdoor type of knives.
See a lot in the States. A lot of garage blacksmiths using it.
Yeah. It is great steel. Often they do because that the textbook hardness, how they harden as far as the locksmith. That way, Kisuke-san actually, just like he treat them to a slightly different, so that the it is probably to level the as he is, massaging the
Just hang out.
I think
We're back.
Oh, I think we're here.
We're back. We're back. Thank you, everyone. Patiently, actually watching us basically doing some some funky
Checking my emails.
Yeah, works.
ATS 34. No, it's not exclusive. There's a wide use of ATS 34, but one thing that Manaka Kisuke is doing is he's getting a whole lot more out of that steel because of how he makes it. Some of the forging process, some of the using sub-zero quenching, right? Which is something that really makes a huge difference to get the maximum hardness out of steel is doing sub-zero quenching. And that, usually involves having like a tank of liquid nitrogen to try and do. The other thing that we notice is, again, there's a younger generation of blacksmith. They are trying to get more. They think that getting different types of steels under their belt is going to be a thing. We're going to see more people using ATS 34 coming up.
Yeah, so it's basically but ATS 34 is something that Manaka-san believes that he can make a difference by the way he treats the steel. And for others, it may be a little bit more difficult or just time consuming to get the same results as him. So not many people like to take the...
Well, it's like the Kobe beef, right? Like you said earlier, he massages the steel. He feeds it malt, plays it classical music.
He
exactly. Treats it better.
Yeah, so
that's what you mean.
I think that's, Alrighty.
Cool.
What's up with the questions?
Yeah, so Daddy Knows Best was asking if we ever see anything in V Toku 2.
V Special 2. Yes, the V Toku. I have to double check if it's V Toku 2 and the VS2 are the same. Oh no, we actually did have the VS2, V Special 2. Toku is actually special. So V Toku 2, V Special 2. We did have hunting or the outdoor knife from the from Seki. Seki Kanetsune. In our sister brand. Kent of Inglewood, we did have the outdoor knife made out of that steel. Cool. There are a lot of steels around. Some are more popular than others for various reasons. Maybe the ease of the treatment, like heat treatment, how much been circulating, and also cladding as well. Many knife makers do buy pre-laminated, pre-clad steel. And that also is true for the ATS 34. Not many cladding companies make 3-layer clad at the company. You have to kind of ask for a little bit bigger bureaucracy. That's why Manaka-san makes his own 3-layer in-house, right? Using his unique technique. So that's probably another reason why you don't see some steels over others. It's a stack of steel.
Yeah, just looking it up here.
Cool. Damon Spector was asking if we had any of those Yoshida ZDP left. Yeah. And I guess to add to that, what do you think of them?
Yoshida ZDP, it's pretty good. They do force Yoshida Hamono is actually a relatively big company. Like they do make a lot of knives. It's like Nigara before, because Nigara-san's factory, they have this place that produces the steel beams and such, and they did have the section of the company that produces the little bit more like mass-produced kitchen knives. What happened is that they were making a lot of mass-produced knives, but because of that, they do actually have this technique or the machines or the things to clad the steel.
They got the machines, the equipment, the skills, the space.
So they started making the ZDP 189. They actually clad ZDP in-house.
Really?
But it's not the like blacksmith, because the big company, they do use more like a Yamamura where we went to see. It's a little bit more like that kind of equipment. Pretty good. It's pretty thin on the spine. Really nice grind actually on the bevel. I don't want to down talk on their other lines of Aogami. This is much better in terms of the grind. I wish they did the same grind on the Aogami knives. But this one's really nice.
I think they're great.
Yeah.
I think they're really nicely put together, very even.
Yeah, nice and thin.
Right.
Yeah, it's relatively whatchamacallit, really well priced because it's the it's simple finish, right?
What about the? Should we contrast and compare the ZDP of Yoshida to the ZDP of Gihei? Hey, look!
That's what I went for. The Gihei-san's ZDPs is the price is a little bit more, despite the size. Like you don't. Let's not just. His ZDP here has a little bit better, basically forging taper here.
Just hammering in a bit of a different
bit.
shape to the knife.
It's got a little bit more like distal taper from here and now. Sharpening is at the edge a little bit thinner here. So tiny bit difference there, right? So when it comes to the sharpness and strength, this got a little bit more durability to it in comparison to Yoshida's ZDP. But still does both cuts do a really good job. The Koba is nice and smooth.
Cool.
Same type of steel too. So
Right on. Carbon Pyro is asking, will there be any more drops like the Shigefusas that will be added to the garage sale before it's over? Did we get the last of our last minute stuff?
that was the
I
last.
think everything has arrived at this point.
Yeah. So that's the last of the late arrivals, folks. But the sale does go till Monday, and there's still a lot of really cool stuff to be found.
Stores are open 10 a.m. till 6 p.m. They'll be there. They'll still have garage sale stuff set up. And of course, there's lots of other things as on top. I mean, we've got these accessories. We've got these cool carbon steel pans. We've got the Hasegawa cutting boards in now. And I think those are going to be here to stay, right? We're not just going to have those for the sale, but we've just sort of introduced them at the
It was
sale.
a little bit more like launch, especially Hasegawa boards.
Something else that's new to our collection of stuff that's going to stick around is this Kyocera ceramic grinder. Now, if you want to open that up, I'll get the next thing ready here, which is our fun prep containers and tongs. These grinders are amazing. You can put basically anything you want. So you hard Himalayan salt or whatever. You screw off the bottom and it's a glass jar, so it's not going to absorb flavors like plastic does. They're pretty stable with that heavier base. And then the top is this plastic grinder. It's got a ceramic burr in it, so it grinds very nicely. And it actually has you can change the grind very, very like small amounts. So it's not like it goes from super fine to super coarse. And ceramic is going to keep its edge for forever as far as a grinder goes.
And it sits like this, even with the lid. So
you don't get stuff on your counter as much, right? I think those are a great thing. I have some old Kuhn Rikon ones that I really like. Same sort of setup in a lot of ways, except for the base is really big, so they take up too much space in the cupboard. And they got a rubber bottom. This is a better design. A couple other fun things that we've got. You'll find these tongs.
I just bought it.
At first, I was like, "What the? This is dumb." And then I held them and thought, "Oh wait, this is perfect." So if you've got a person that is afraid of touching chicken, or even sometimes you take something hot off of a barbecue or out of an oven and you want to hold it, but you don't want to get out tongs or this is perfect. There's a lot of dexterity with these little guys, right? And if you're using them as a serving item, the way they sit, you can put them here, and then the business end isn't touching anything.
Yeah.
So they're really nice for service as well.
Comes in a little bigger size too.
Yeah.
Like salad or a little bit of barbecue. That's like that size is great. Like you do a little bit of barbecue and bring the meat. Use that as the carving fork.
Yeah, instead of stabbing your meat.
Yeah.
Now we have these two other sort of prep containers that are really sweet. Just so thoughtfully put together. Really nice, so you got a lid, but we've got a little drainage mesh tray that fits perfectly on the inside. So if you want to salt your meat in advance, so it's going to pull some of that liquid out. So you don't want to have it sitting in the bottom of the liquid, or you wash a bunch of vegetables. You don't want to let them sit in water, right? If you're deep frying stuff, you're taking it out of a deep fryer and it's got a batter and a crispy coating. You want air to be around it. So again, it's not sitting in any oil that's draining off of it and getting soggy. And sometimes when it touches cold metal, it'll actually cool it down and make it soggy as well. So it's great for deep frying, storing stuff.
Or even battering, or the
great.
just the flouring. Like say you have the whole chicken, just the flour, and that's it.
Yeah, it's fine. It's not crazy fine. How you want to swap the camera?
Yep.
You can see how fine it is here. Yeah. It's a reasonable grade. It would work well as it even just as for flour.
Yeah. Think of all the different uses. It'd be really great. You were saying on Monday, for getting that pellicle on your meat before you cook it.
Yeah. Or even just you do a lot of pickling and fermenting and stuff. Nice to have it in a container like that. Pull everything out.
Yeah, especially if you're maybe you're making dinner for a bunch of people and you I don't know, you're throwing together a bunch of sandwiches and you want to make a bunch of pickled onions. You don't want to be sticking your hand into the jar and getting brine everywhere. Just pull that thing out, dust it off a little bit.
Pickled onions, just get a mandolin, shave a bunch of onions. I always make my base pickle is always equal parts water, sugar, vinegar, boil it, pour it over top. I throw allspice in with my my pickled red onions. They're such a great addition to anything like barbecued pork or whatever. Yeah. Really brighten things up.
Yeah. Okay, we got a couple more questions then.
Dinner time.
Then I
Hungry.
think we might be done for the night because we're getting hungry. So if you guys do have more questions, pop them in the comments. You got a few more minutes before we take off. Bankai, we did talk about this earlier, but let's go over it again. Question about Kiritsuke double versus single beveled. I believe traditionally the Kiritsuke is single bevel, but now with the option of the double bevel, why would you choose one over the other? And there's a lot of differences between the two. They're almost completely different knives.
When it comes to the double beveled Kiritsuke, to me, I think the real advantage is just the appeal, is the look. They look great. There's such a cool look to them. I have a Moritaka Kiritsuke, which is a very, very straight edge, and it's very scary because as I'm lifting the heel of the knife up, this Kurosaki Senko's got a nice curve to the blade here. It's very easy if you push forward to sink what is a very, very delicate, very skinny piece of steel. To stuff that into your cutting board and break it off is a very real risk. So you have to either cut backwards or kind of come down on an angle, not so much that rocker. It essentially a Western style, like a double bevel Kiritsuke, is frankly rarely any different than a Gyuto. It's just a Gyuto with a bit of attitude. And there's nothing wrong with wanting one or liking that. Style is totally a real thing.
I think it's just really the style, or the people you talk to, right? Like Mike said, someone like Kurosaki-san, he makes his Kiritsuke Gyuto as really the only difference from this to the regular Gyuto is just the tip. Where if you look at some knife makers like Kim, the Tsunehisa Kiritsuke is quite a different from other Gyutos like the Gyuto we have.
One of the things that really is the mark of a traditional Kiritsuke is that you can use it like a Yusuba. A Yusuba has a very straight edge because it's often used in the rotating cutting style where you're going to rotate a piece of daikon into a thin sheet of paper. So you need that perfectly straight edge.
So you see quite a bit of difference on the edge profile. Gyuto has much more rocker to it. This knife maker makes it a lot more flatter, although it does have enough, rock to it.
It's got a little bit of a curve on the tip.
Yeah. So it's some depends on whose I guess Kiritsuke you're getting. Kurosaki's Kiritsuke is going to be like you won't find any difference between the Kiritsuke and the Gyuto or the Tsunehisa lots of knife makers makes it a little bit more moritaka. Makes it a lot more like usuba. This is more traditional single bevel kiritsuke. Usually is leaning towards a slicing yanagiba, right? So kiritsuke in the single bevel sense is usually the yanagiba with the disc tip and slightly taller bevel, so that you can actually cut it like this, and you can use it as a peeling, and also you can use it as a slice and sashimi type of stuff. So it really depends on who or whose knife you are looking at. That's what determines the shape.
And it goes to what your function is, what you're looking for to do with the knife. And to me, if your style is to rock with the knife and do that rocking chop, a Gyuto is probably a better bet. I also have a Takeda Kiritsugi that is kind of the same thing, where I have to be mindful to not get into a really fast rocking chop with it. And having that straight edge, I mean, the Kiritsugi I have from Takeda is about a 260 millimeter long blade, and it's very, very straight along the edge. So when my edge hits the cutting board, there is a lot of edge that bites at one time, and often it feels like the knife is just grinding to a halt. That edge is so sharp and toothy that when it hits, it stops. It doesn't slide across the cutting board because so much surface area is biting in at one time.
Awesome. Garnet, Paul is asking if we can compare the Tsunehisa VG1 Sentoku and the Masutani VG1 Sentoku.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Both like great, affordable, basic knives.
This feels nice. It's $123. I'm going to say, yeah, it looks like there's the blade's probably welded to this tang that runs through the handle. I kind of like this style where it's more like a hot dog than it is like a sandwich.
Right? The half full tang.
The tang doesn't run through the handle, which is nice because sometimes the wood will shrink and that tang is exposed underneath here and you feel it kind of rub it against your hand. It's not as comfortable.
I don't have the Sentoku, but I have Nakiri. Really the big difference here is how much steel goes through there. Masutani VG1 tsuchime, it does have like this much.
Matsutani Sugifusa.
Sugifusa.
It's the same wood on the handle. It's this paka wood.
One has the really nice tsuchime pattern though. Like this one's Masutani. Right?
Yeah, it's a good looking knife.
The hammering also is not just a look; it's a feature. It does give you those little air pockets instead of having those grantins or ground low spots on the face of the blade. Those little dimples break up surface tension. The knife will pass through something like a sweet potato with less resistance.
Very similar in performance, though. That's for sure.
Edge retention will be practically the same.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if we can say much about. Do we know much about the difference in their forging techniques? They're likely run through at a very controlled setting, which is likely what Takafu Steelworks says this is the optimal setting.
Yeah.
Heat to here, cool this way, cool that, heat up, cool down,
exactly.
hold,
Yep. So it's,
Okay, so what is the cost on the Matsutani Yusu or Matsutani Sentoku?
I think it was about the same 123 or 100.
Okay, so you're about the same price range. Yeah.
So it's, I guess it comes down to the preference and the look from that point.
I'd get the dimpled one. I think it looks cooler.
Mastani-san, this Mastani-san has a little bit more. I like Mastani-san because they've been trying to promote their I guess workshops. Like if you actually go on their Instagram post, you see a lot of like a little bit of insight into how they actually make these things.
Yeah, Matsutani is quite cool. Yeah.
So I'm not quite sure who actually makes this. I have an idea.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Both
Thanks,
great
Garnet.
guys. Yeah.
Hope that answered your question.
Awesome. Well, just a couple more questions then. Can you talk about the Tetsujin metal flow? I know I don't think we have any left in the warehouse, but just wondering if you got anything you want to say about it. Thickness, weight, anything you like about it?
A lot of interesting trivia, but hey, so let's just do a little bit about talk about Tetsujin. Tetsujin is this unit.
Is it a company? Is it people? Is it a person?
It's not a person. It's
Okay.
not a company.
Right.
It is a
It's the T unit.
the unit of two young craftsmen.
Mm-hmm.
Tetsu as the Tetsu represents
Mhm,
the steel. He is a blacksmith,
Mhm.
and Jin as a sharpener.
Mhm.
Tetsu the Toru Tamura.
Mhm.
He used to work for us.
Mhm.
He used to. He actually used to work for the Hiroshi Kato-san
That's right. Yeah.
and the Shimizu-san in the Echizen, and he worked at another company. Jin, the sharpener, the Naohito Myojin-san, he is one of the probably becoming to be one of the best sharpeners in that region. Probably, definitely in that region, and even including Sakai.
Mhm.
Anyways, the what's good about actually Toru is that the Toru learned how to make the double bevel at the Kato-san's place,
Mhm.
right? So he forges with this two. It's very signature move in that takefu, right?
That's right. Yeah.
They forge two
They do
steels together,
two knives at a time.
be able to make the steel really nice and thin and faster.
Yeah.
Right. He does that. No one does like that, like in that region, like Tosa, right?
Really?
So he does that because Tetsujin knives are inherently thinner,
Mm-hmm.
forged than the other Sakai or the Tosa blades, done very nicely and sharpening. Myojin-san learned a lot of skills from a lot of different places, so it's really beautifully forged. I did a direct comparison between Nakagawa's a 240 and the Tetsujin's 240, and Tetsujin was so much lighter.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Anyway, so that's the little bit of trivia. Much thinner. It's grinds so really good. Again, really young blacksmith. It cuts like a razor. Trivia. There are a lot of trivias like that. Right. The Toru. We still have the Toru's bass guitar at their main shop.
I know, it's
The
pretty fun.
55-year store. But they're great craftsmen, and we were gonna actually go there on our trip to Japan 4 weeks ago. It didn't work out as the COVID numbers were rising when we were there, so they were like, yeah, let's not. But we'll like to see them definitely on the next trip.
Well, one of the ways that I like to judge, how good a knife is really how excited Naoto gets about it. And Naoto's pretty excited about Tetsujin knives. So there's something to that for me.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Josh McKinney worked their first shift with the Tetsujin 240 Gyuto. So nice.
Nice.
George Owen said, debating between a petty and a kobunka. I'm just curious if you two have any thoughts between those two knives.
Kobunka is useful like a chef's knife is useful. Typically they're taller and you're chopping with it. It's like a short knife that you use like a chef's knife. And a petty gives you that pointed tip, because a kobunka, if we have one, doesn't come to the same sort of pointed triangular or equilateral triangle tip. That tip that's on a petty allows you to pierce things better. So I'm thinking about cleaning sinew off of a piece of meat where you sort of poke in a little hole, slide your knife in, and clean the stuff off. That's harder to do with a kobunka. But a petty, if it's too skinny, you end up trying to cut with it in a weird way because you don't want to bash your knuckles. So you're hanging off the edge of your cutting board, which isn't great. You got food falling on the floor.
Skinnier. Oh, sorry.
Or
skinnier.
or you're moving your hand around in a way so your hand is not hitting the cutting board, because of course if your hand, where's a really thin petty? Yeah, sometimes you'll be doing stuff with a petty knife, like you're doing it like this, so you're not hitting your hand on the counter. So when you've got a kobunka, often the blade is a little bit taller, so you can do that chopping without bashing your knuckles.
Although there are some petties that's actually tall enough.
Yeah,
like
that's
this
right.
Kumokage
Oh, that's
petty
great.
that has enough clearance. This is about probably about same height as the Masakage kobunkas, right? So this is actually quite nice. This does be able to do a little bit of chopping job on the cutting board, as well as really nice thin tip. You can do, like say coring strawberries.
Oh yeah.
I actually hold it like this and just
Totally. Well, the thing that you get when you've got a knife that's skinnier is it goes around curves better. When you think and you look at a boning knife's going to be a much skinnier blade, and it's because it goes around those curves better. So if you're looking for a sharp knife that's a little shorter, a little bit more multi-purpose, then yeah, go forward with the Kobunka. And if you're thinking of something that will work well for the small jobs, trying to shave thin little bits of garlic, a smaller knife you have a lot more control over for more precise work. And you want something that would double as a bit of lightweight butchery, then head towards that petty.
or both.
Or both. I was just going to say, or just get both.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, well, thanks so much for coming and hanging out, everybody. Yeah, we revealed some super cool knives today, and it was nice to chat with everybody from the shops. I guess, do you guys have anything else related to the garage sale that you? We spent like 24 hours live streaming in the past couple weeks. So
just last reminder for the announcements. Yes, thanks for watching. Again, garage sale is exciting season for the time of the year for us. We just again came back from Japan. And being able to see a lot of blacksmiths and knife makers in person, first time in a couple of years. It was fantastic experience. It was great opportunity for us to see them, and a lot of knives that we had them kind of in this occasion. We actually met them in person, right? So it was great. We are working towards creating a lot of blacksmith profile clips on this YouTube. And hopefully they will be available in next probably 12 months because we have a lot of footage.
We've filmed a lot.
Lots
of stuff.
of footage. So.
And we look forward to going back and more and getting more fun stuff. But as for the garage sale, runs right until Monday this time around. We have Monday as a holiday, so we're going to kind of run an extra day until 6 p.m. The website's open 24 hours. We have a help desk, hello@knifewear.com. Or just a little click chat button on the corner. Totally help out. And there's still a lot of stuff left. Whether you're looking for a gift for somebody, you got a couple of weddings to go to.
Or something like
I got a wedding to go
something
to.
like that.
I got a wedding to go to. Okay, he's got lots of knives, so I don't know.
Yeah. So
get him a cutting board.
Oh.
Yeah, so we have a lot of things coming, and some great news. Toronto pop-up. We are doing a pop-up in Toronto in June. I'm waiting for the date.
Hey, 13th to the 19th.
You don't have it memorized now, Toe. 28 Bathurst Street, Stacked Market. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. Stacked Market. It's all stacked up a bunch of old sea cans. Maybe they're new sea cans. We have a big one this time. We're there for 7 days. We're bringing our sharpening gear. We're bringing Kasumi from Calgary. We got
Alex from Ottawa.
Alan, Megan from Ottawa.
Megan, I think from Ottawa is coming down too. So we'll be there. We'll be hanging out. We're looking for a home in Toronto.
So we are launching a new knife, two new knife lines from Masashi-san in late June. We are just trying to get everything in and get all the informations and just waiting to launch it. And Masashi-san, June 24th.
June 24th, new knives from Masashi-san.
Yeah.
And then probably a month later or so.
We are hoping to have Masashi-san in Canada.
It's gonna
Everything goes smooth, we'll have Masashi-san in Canada, all the stores, Ottawa, Calgary, Edmonton, and Vancouver. So
it's going to be great.
We'll have if you buy one of his knives, or if you have already his knives, he will be able to engrave the knife for you.
Yeah. And you can sign up to our mailing list to get more information about any of these events we do. Of course, social media is a great place. Mm-hmm. Here, we're big fans of running videos on YouTube about stuff. We've got more videos planned to do, just sort of our regular content, Sharp Knives Rock, all kinds of stuff. So, and if you have any suggestions of things you'd like to see us do in terms of profiles on knives or steel or blacksmithing, or even just end using of knives. We have so many people in our organization that are really skilled and talented chefs that would love to pick up a knife and show you how to use it.
There's a new video that came out yesterday, I think. Me fixing the knife that he destroyed.
Yeah, that video's turned out pretty great. It just came out yesterday.
I was doing that for the better good of the world, to show people what is an inappropriate thing to do with a Japanese kitchen knife.
Yes.
I actually made sparks fly.
Yes.
And then halfway through it, I just realized I was bleeding, and I have no idea how that happened.
It was not the.
I mean, I have a pretty good idea. I was being an idiot.
It was not a it's not a computer graphic like the Nathan's garage sale thing, right? It was actually sparking. Right?
It was actually sparking.
Yeah.
I forgot to answer a question earlier. A couple folks who are just wondering where Kevin is. Don't worry, we haven't stuffed him in the back of a van or anything. He's just feeling under the weather this week, so the guys are filling in for him.
He's tapped in the that little.
Yeah. He's Hold on one sec, folks. We'll show you. Yeah, that's just tight. There you go.
He is stuffed.
We stuffed him in that panda.
Yeah, he's entombed in the stuffed panda.
We
Forever-
keep him there for safekeeping.
Forever riding the penny farthing. No, yeah, he'll be back next time.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you so much, everybody that joined us for all of our live streams over the last couple of weeks. We got more coming up. We got Naoto's Nerdy Power Hour next week, Tuesday at 1 p.m. Talking about Shibata style knife sharpening. Really unique way of sharpening knives, kind of differential grits on either side. So Naoto will be doing some of that and kind of maybe talk about the way he likes to do it. So tune in then. It's a good time to nerd out, ask questions about, especially like steel and sharpening and that kind of thing. Next month we have Sharp Knives Rock episode 12. We're gonna be grilling a bunch of food, having a little barbecue, and giving away a grill.
We get to eat some good stuff.
Get to eat some good stuff.
Hopefully
Yeah, it'll be
it's not
fun.
gonna snow, right?
Yeah, I mean it's what, June? Should be fun.
Yeah.
Dick,
Yeah. Well, wait.
It might. It won't stick around, but it could snow.
Yeah, right.
We'll see. You'll just have to tune in to see it.
Right.
Yeah, other than that, stay tuned. And if you haven't found a knife already, there's lots of great stuff to be had all week. But if you have found a knife already and you've been with us this whole time, thanks so much for supporting us and for shopping the sale and for sharing your love and passion of knives with the internet.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Have a great rest of your week, folks. Enjoy the long weekend.
Weekend.